doing? Welcome to the second episode of Collecting Our Future. I am your host, Star Joker Zen. I'm glad everybody could come out and join us and hang with us for this. I really wanted to do this again because the first one was very successful and it was very fun to do. I do apologize. Brandon could not make it with us, but we'll still have a good time tonight. So I will bring in the crew that you do know on every Friday night. Mr. Collecting Rush is here. Welcome, sir.
Hello.
And I'll bring in the one and only Mr. Wednesday 705 Disavowed. How you doing? There you go. And then I'll bring in our special guest this week. I always like to switch it up every time we do this. So let's bring in Mr. Mike Hex. How you doing, sir?
Hey there. How's it going?
Great. It's a great Sunday. We're going to have a good time. And the one and only Mr. Mystic Legions himself, the 1-6 shooter, needs no introduction, Trevor.
Yes, I do. What's up, kids? How's it going?
Nice, good.
Happy Sunday.
See, he's got his drink. He's got his drink ready, and he's good to go.
What happened to
lost Tim.
Precursor to the show, guys. If you're watching this, hide your wallets. By the end of listening to Trevor speak, you will be buying like buckets full of Mythic Legion. So hide your wallets.
Already.
Oh my God! Look at that. The effect.
They're multiplying.
Exactly. I got like 6 more trolls behind me because of him just already.
Just one moose though, Dante. I think you need a couple of moose.
See, this is why I said this is what I was talking about. The peer pressure of buying that moose. The peer pressure.
You take the antlers out and you got a female moose, then you have a couple moose. It's nice.
Dante, who needs to buy trolls? There's enough of them online.
Let's see who's in the chat here before we get started. We got Cloud Foxwell. How you doing? Jordan from Canada. Toy People. The Hex and the Shooter on the equation. Nice. See, we got Don Machicciaro. Stratton. Hello, everyone. Hello, Don. Jeff Morris. Hello there. Ratface44. What's up, Dante? Hen says hello, everyone. Stratton says hello, Rush. Hello, Tim. Hello, Mike. That's all we got here. Dom says Dante is waiting for another moose to be announced in the next week. Oh my goodness, no. Spider Moose may return. That is true. Spider Moose may return.
Maybe they got chocolate colored one, like the Santa chocolate color.
Cloud says can confirm Rush, Trevor, the enabler.
Yeah, I need to be an enabler, man, because I could be running up the points in that group.
Exactly. Just on Mythic Legions themselves.
They won't let me in because of that.
Yeah, you got connections.
I know.
Welcome back, Tim.
We good? Everybody got
yes.
good audio? Okay. As soon as you put me into the room, I lost all audio from you guys. But we'll move on. Let's do it. We're right on.
Well, welcome back, sir. Jordan from Kansas says, Dante, Tim, Rush, Mike, Trevor. Thank you. Thank you for everybody who's hanging out with us. Rasmus says a bit of interception just coming in from catching the Legion's Lounge International on the recap. Trevor's still holding that glass.
Oh, cool. Nice.
There you go.
Yeah, it's the same glass. It's not the same glass from last night. It's a fresh glass. I just sat here and continued to drink all night until the show came on. So, I'm really.
It'd be great if you had some little lounge music to it. We're going to talk about some Mythic Legions tonight.
The international show was fun. We had people from UK and Luxembourg and talking about their experience. It was cool. Go check it out. That's my plug.
Show.
Thank you.
Watching from here and definitely enjoyed all the topics as always. And just great job, sir. Always a great live stream.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, thank you.
Always, Trevor, you do put in some great work.
You guys too, man. I always love this show. I'm always in here.
Yeah, we try our best.
So busy now, though, man. It's so busy on YouTube with toy shows, though. It's like literally, I am trying to put together like a TV guide thing, and I can put at the end of my my shows and stuff like that, or just post up because it's nuts, man. It's crazy.
Just means you got something to listen to while you're working.
Exactly.
Yeah, you got to catch somebody on replay. Unfortunately, somebody's got to lose out.
Yeah. So real quick, before we delve into everything, if you are new here, please hit the subscribe button and hit that like button for us. We appreciate it. And don't forget, March 3rd, we will be having Gridiron Studios to be joining us on the podcast on a Friday night. And the first Sunday of this month, we will be doing Infinity Creators again, and High School Creations will be joining us on that one, talking about his new Kickstarter, his Wall XD. So
nice.
Can't wait for that. A lot of stuff coming up. A lot of good stuff. A lot of fun stuff. Craig said, who let so many of the Who crew in here? We're all friends here. It says Gridiron's another enabler. All right, folks. So let's get into it. What's going on, Art? So the first question of the night, has the business of the industry affected how you been collecting or not? Has it changed your views on like how the way that prices are going up? Has it changed to maybe where you see like now another company is making a figure that you want and you're now going all in? Has it stopped you from collecting another line? We'll start to my left, Mike.
Well, the boxes aren't as pretty, obviously, so that appeal of, hey, that looks really cool, you kind of lose that. For me, though, the biggest thing is the price. For the price that I would be spending on, like about 6-7 legends, I'd be now buying one Mythic Legion. But it makes you look at this stuff and you start thinking, imports are more in the range now, because for what you'd be paying, you're just looking at other stuff like that. So it definitely makes me less likely to grab up even figures like like I used to grab the Build-A-Figures, and then I'd have the other figures just kind of like the MCU figures, I'd end up moving them along. But now I'm like, I wouldn't even want to waste the money on them because it's just too much money. And over the last year, I think I've spent way too much. So this year, I definitely am spending less, and keeping an eye on what I spend.
Okay. Rush.
Kind of similar to Mike. It's like I'm not buying as much as I usually would. As he says, I don't collect MCU, but I would buy the lines of MCU just to get that comic Build-A-Figure. But honestly, with prices nowadays, and I've learned to just, like so many other people, I'm just playing the waiting game because so much is just going to clearance. It's like during pandemic, everything was hype, and everyone was buying everything. Now almost everything except for key characters pretty much go clearance. So if you play the waiting game, you can save so much on it. In terms of prices, it's like, unfortunately, it's like that's just what happens. I've been collecting since the Toy Biz days when they're $7.99 each. It's like back when with the Fing Fang Foom wave, they went up to $15. I'm like, oh, this is too much. I can't afford this anymore. There's like, just I still bought. So regardless, prices are just going to go up. And everyone's just like, oh, Hasbro this, or blaming a certain company. Everything's going up. I've talked about in the past, like these bookshelves that I display all my figures on. It's like I was buying them for $30 from Walmart. Guess what? They're now $35. And one that has a ton of detolfs in their room. It's like they're originally $60. Now I'm seeing them for $105. Yeah. But yeah, everyone's bashing different companies for raising prices, but say, hey, but you're not calling out that it's happening everywhere. It's like it's just factor of life. When it comes to the windowless boxes, I don't care. As you can see, I display everything, so that doesn't get to me. But it's just life. You have to deal with this. Like, if you have cut down, you've got to cut down. It's like all of us aren't millionaires yet, so we're working on it. Link, subscribe, like.
Definitely trying to get the millionaire status so I can afford everything. And hey, look, if I had $1 million, look, I buy maybe a couple of doubles of everything and just hand them out to people. Just like, look, let's do a giveaway. Just give away. I don't care. Trevor.
Yeah, the business. So I used to smoke, And like a long time ago, I was like a teenager and stuff. And I'm going to date myself, but cigarettes were like $1, I don't know, $1.50 or something like that a pack. I don't even know what the hell they are now, but it got to a point where they were like $3.50, $3.99. And, you know, I said, like, I don't want to smoke anymore. And like, this is getting ridiculous. You know what I mean? It's getting really expensive. So I think that there is a limit on everything. No matter how much you like it, there comes a point where there's a price that just kind of sends you over the edge. And I think, you know, there's certain things, you know, it's the value of it. You know what I mean? In terms of smoking, like I didn't really want to smoke. So like, why would I pay a ton of money to smoke? And, you know, it's like that with Marvel Legends at this point. I will, you know, continue to collect here and there, mainly the X-Men line. But the price is getting kind of crazy for what it is. You know what I mean? I don't mind spending, you know, I buy imports and stuff. But, you know, the amount you get and the articulation you get and the quality you get, at least now from Mafex and stuff like that, I think just outweighs. I'd rather spend that kind of money on a better figure than buy, you know, 5 or 6 figures that I only marginally care about, you know, for whatever reason, to get a bath or whatever. And, you know, I think it's getting to the point where selling things is hard too. So like, you know, you don't even want to buy like extras or I'll buy the whole wave and get the bath and then I'll sell the figures, because you may not be able to sell the figures. Cause like Rush said, you can go out and you can wait 3 or 4 months and they're $8.99 or $10.99 at your Target. So it's definitely affected me. And the only other thing I would say about it is there's things, you know, in the industry, like, you know, the way companies operate, I think. And I love Mezco products. They're great, but I got to say this thing with Batman and a few other things has really kind of turned me off to them, because like, you know, they should be communicating, you know, and there are companies like, and again, I'm shilling for Mythic Legions, I know, but like that should communicate like that. Like they do, like if there's a mistake, if there's a delay, you're the first, you know, people, the fans are the first to know. They'll be the first to say, like, listen, things are going to be a little backed up or whatever. But, you know, Mezco for 3 years says nothing about this figure. It's insane. I hate to bring this up. I know it's a sore subject, but like that, it's stuff like that. That is the business of these toy companies. And, you know, that's just the tip of the iceberg there. There's other companies that are doing similar things. But that for me, for them, is like kind of turned me off to collecting a lot of Mezco. I mean, I'm not getting everything. I still pick and choose there. But so yeah, it's definitely the way people conduct business. Pricing has definitely affected the way I collect, for sure. Yeah.
Tim?
I think as far as the business goes, 3 main points for me: pricing, packaging, and transparency. I was going to address the pricing and the packaging, but I think what Trevor just very well explained there was the transparency piece. You have a company like Valaverse, who has really been a major player, you know, in the last 2 or 3 years in the toy industry, who comes out and lets their fan base know very specifically what's going on with their figures. I don't see why a Hasbro or a Mezco can't do the same with something like that Batman 89. You know, I don't collect very many Mezcos. But what I will say is hearing the debacle that was Batman pushed me away from getting into that more. As far as the packaging, the pricing is concerned, pricing, I would need a lot more time to talk about. I'm not somebody who will sit here and say that it's okay the prices are going up across the board. To me, that's a policy conversation regarding politics that we're not here to talk about. What I will say is I don't think that anything should go up in price as drastically as it has this quickly. So I'll leave it at that. Toys being included in that basket. Packaging and the pricing. Pricing has definitely affected my collecting regarding, for instance, Marvel Legends. Everybody knows who watches my toy channel, this is about action figures. I played a long game a lot. Trevor just mentioned you can go to Target and Walmart within 2 months sometimes and get these figures on clearance. You can go on Amazon. This past Christmas was insane, the different ticket deals they had on Amazon. So I got a lot of figures I was going to pass on those weird sales and clearances. So I have factored that in where I'm playing the long game more often. But as far as packaging goes, the 2 biggest things there: 1, I will not buy a Marvel Legend inside a box without a window without opening it immediately in the store afterwards. I literally go over to a trash can or something that's out of the way. I don't make a scene. I crack that box open. I open it up right there. Make sure the accessories are there. If there's a builder-figure piece, and make sure everything's that's there should be there. That way, if it's not, I go right to customer service. I even tell the clerk, the person working, the associate, hey, this is going to sound crazy, but there's this theft thing going on. I'm going to go over here and open this, so nobody thinks I'm like weird or whatever. Although I am weird. But so that end of it. But as far as packaging goes, oddly enough, despite my hesitancy to buy those figures in box out the window, it's really led me to appreciate things like this that much more. You know, I'm less likely to play the long game on something, one, if it's going to hit the nostalgia with this packaging, and two, if it's a good figure. I stress the long game, but I have no problem paying full price or higher sometimes if I want to get it sooner at like CMD store or something, if it's a great figure. I overpaid for the 2 Crimson Twins early. I overpaid to get Spiral early because I figured I'd be driving around looking anyway. I'll pay an extra $5 or $6 for a good figure. So there's place for long game, but if these companies make good stuff, I'll buy it at full price too.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You know what? For me, it's kind of like with a little bit of everybody's comments. I say, like, yes, I've had to cut down quite drastically for reasons. One reason I can't say as of yet, but drastically I had to cut down buying multitudes of like I used to. Price is one of the main things that has come up with that. And like Trevor said, it's hard to sell stuff. I'm trying to get stuff together to sell now, just to kind of slim down my collection and have a little bit of extra money, extra funds. The packaging part for me, to me, it doesn't really bother me too much on that end. If I can see it or can't see it, but it's, for me, it's more of like having that figure in my hand at that point. Just seeing that one of the characters that I may enjoy just being there. But other than that, it's pricing really has kind of made me be more selective in my Marvel Legends, but also with other ones that I buy too. Mezco, like we said before, like it is one of those ones that I have to be very selective of because I don't have $100 to $90 to $100, almost $200 to just willy nilly just give out. It has to be a character that I specifically want and would like to have in my collection. Like for example, I did order that Solomon Kane. Might not be everybody's taste, but I do have a little bit of a soft spot for Solomon Kane. Like I like that character. The movie wasn't great, but still, yeah. Like Constantine, that's a great figure. I didn't order it, but it's great. When they make more Conans.
It is a good figure.
Yeah. Even with the Conans, I'm all in on the Conans. You tell me that they're doing the Conan, I'm all in.
Yeah,
like,
I can't pass that.
Right, because they're the only ones who are doing Conan figures. There's nobody else really doing that Frank Frazetta Conan. Like that's, you want that. So yes, I've really been picky. Even with the like Mayfix, I've been super picky. I didn't get the whole X-Men wave. Storm, Magneto are like the ones that I really like. I was like, okay, they literally look good. Those are ones I don't mind having in my collection. They make great DC figures. The Hush series has been great. The Return of Superman series has been great. I'm hoping they come out. They kind of expand a little bit more out past those, but so far I've been happy with them. So, and it's hard. Like I do collect Valorverse as well too. So it's kind of like somebody's going to have to get cut down a little bit on what I buy because you make army, like the army. Prime example with the tracksuit goons. I've been trying to. I would be like, let me get like 6 of them because I'm an even number person. I like having like even number of like army builders. But I was like, no, 2's fine enough for that. 2 is good enough for now.
Yeah.
I can do 2. That works. If I find them in store, that's great. If I don't, okay. I'm not a person who goes to the store anymore like that. Like if I'm going to Target, it has to be for a specific reason for me to go there now. If I'm going to Walmart, because my Walmart's like, it's a little bit out of ways, and it has to be like a specific reason for me to go to Walmart to see what they have there. Other than that, I'm going to pay the price, but it's easier for me just to have it shipped to me than me trying to go out and waste the gas to see if maybe they might have extras in the store.
Yeah.
And depending on which state you live in, and we've seen it. Some states have like tons of them sitting on the shelf. Legends, G.I. Joes, NECA figures. Some other states, it's like a dry desert.
I'm like a beaten dog that comes back for more every time I go to Walmart, man. Like I go in there and like, I know there's gonna be nothing there. And I go in anyway and I'm like, there's nothing here. I don't know why I keep coming.
Dante, may I ask that you yield a moment of your time to me, sir?
Sure.
Trevor just kind of hit the nail on the head there. Regarding it's really a treasure hunt. Sometimes you're going to find something or nothing in these stores. You guys know I do it a lot. But just to piggyback what I said earlier on, I never would overpay in the past for a Marvel Legend or something to get it early. You know, I'm not talking about crazy overpaying. But again, CMD store, sometimes you can pay an extra $12, $13 for a Legend. I would never do that. But if it's something that's a quality product, for how high gas is right now, for how much time it takes sometimes, if I'm going to drive to Target 3 or 4 days a week to find one figure I really want, hoping that young high school employee put it out on the freaking peg, or I could just order it early, pay that extra money, and get it in hand, I'll do that now. And I think that ties in with our topic overall. I yield my time back to you, sir.
No, and I agree with you. Like, for me, I know that one character's like any of the Spider-Man, like any Spider-Man character that I really enjoy, that I will go out of my way for. Like, that's me. Spider-Man, oh man. Or if it's any character that I really love, yes. Wholeheartedly, I will go out of my way for that to see if I can get multiples, because that's just how I am for that character. Because I really love that character. I like the way he looks. And if that design looks really great, you know I'm in. I'm all in. You got me. I'm like if you ever watch AEW, I'm all elite for some Spider-Man. Like, that's it. Like, you say Spider-Man, what? You got my attention.
Yeah.
But
so you must have been going crazy trying to find that the animated one when it dropped on that pallet.
I still don't have it.
I've been monitoring my one near Walmart specifically for that figure, even though I've already got it and I've already gotten one on the card, specifically because I know when I find it, somebody's going to be looking for it.
Exactly.
And I know they haven't whipped it out of the trailer yet. And, you know, it's one of those, they've been taking forever.
Right. And don't get wrong,
as far as packaging, I didn't think about packaging, but like,
right.
I'm not an in-package person. I don't think Dante, you're not an in-package collector, right? Or are you? Or I mean, certain things like the vintage stuff.
Yeah. Like the retro cards.
Like I order everything.
I can see like Tim's saying.
Yeah.
Sorry,
I order everything, so I don't really care. I mean, I get what I get. You know what I mean? So like, and you know, if I don't like it, I'll send it back or I'll try and find another one. But like, I don't know. I guess I'm not that picky. So the packaging hasn't really affected me much.
Yeah, and I like I said, exactly. And I agree with Tim. The retro carding looks great. Don't get me wrong, I love that retro carding, but sometimes like having two of them, it's just kind of like it's a little bit, because like I got a couple of retro cards sitting here right next to me. I don't even know what to do with right now. Literally don't know what to do with right now. I'm trying to hang up artwork or hang up like retro cards. Like, what's the choice? Artwork or retro cards?
Yeah,
like. I'm gonna go with the artwork because it's been a while since I had some like good artwork up.
This poster case in point. Originally, I was gonna switch this out every Friday, and I realized that was ludicrous because one of these days would fall and knock everything over. But I've kicked around taking down the poster and putting in more retro cards. But it's like, I love the posters. I love comic book representation in my collection room. So you pick your poison, you know.
Yeah. Very
much so. I have a few things in package that are like, you know, special. But man, I can't imagine collecting one to rock, one to stock all the time. Like, I'm overwhelmed right now with stuff that I've opened. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like I've really got to get rid of stuff, and I can't even think about having another copy of it. In some cases, I do that I've been trying to sell, and it's very, very hard. It's very hard.
It is.
It's a lot of competition. That's the other thing with business. There's a lot of competition for your dollar now. There's so many cool third-party things that are coming out. And new Kickstarters all the time, and it's like, those are the things that are people taking people's money away when you're trying to sell like, a couple of legends that are out of the package that, are like 4 or 5 years old. Good luck, man. I mean, you just like, you got to give those away to somebody because
what do they say? The minute you drive a new car out of the lot, it depreciates in value by, so much.
Yep.
Yeah.
Key figure, a lot of these legends, and they don't hold the value they used to because they've established, which I like this, by the way, but they've established they're more likely to re-release figures. I think like the Bath figures that have been re-released and most of the time improved. So a lot of times those figures they don't hold the value they used to. And like Trevor just said, if you're buying extra, you're kind of stuck with them, and you got to take a loss sometimes to get rid of them.
And I would argue to people, and this is going to be controversial, but like, I know that people, maybe you just like it on the card and you put it up on the wall and that's the way you want to collect it. That's one thing. It's another thing to collect for value and keep it on the card, because if you're not going to sell it within the next few years, trust me when I say, after having done this with comic books that were, plentiful in the 80s and 90s, everybody in the world is doing this. This is not going to hold the value that vintage Kenner Star Wars cards on card hold, in the future, because everybody is putting them in cases and keeping them in mint condition on the card. There's going to be a glut of them when people go to sell these things. So it's not going to be hard to find something. They're not really going to, they may increase in value in the short term, but that is when to sell them, because that is when I should have sold a lot of comic books in the short term and not hung on to them for life when the interest waned. Like, the interest is just going to wane, and it's like, I don't care how minty it is. I don't care if it's 9.8 graded by the comic book. Nobody wants it. You know what I mean? It just doesn't matter. So, like, think about it. If that's what you're collecting for, I would collect for fun and for what you like, and not for, future value. That's all. That's my TED Talk. Thank you.
And
so Death of Superman's not going to put my kid through college? Is that what you're telling me?
No, and I bought like 8 of those. And even like I worked in a comic book store when that came out, and I thought every dad was coming in buying like a stack of them. And I'm like, this is what's going to put my kid through college. And I'm sitting there going, no, it's not, dude. We've got about 1,000 more of them in the back, and we're going to put them all out now. You just bought everything on the. It's like ridiculous.
Well, kind of adding on to what Trevor says, like going back, we're all talking about the retro packaging. Look at what the original retro packaging was based off of. The 90s Toy Biz, like 5 points of articulation type figures. That you go to any convention, people are selling those for like buckets for like $10 in package. People honestly say everyone's trying to drive up the industry. It's like, oh, these are going to be worth something. No, they're not. It's like, because guess what? Especially with toys, like look at Marvel Legend compared to the Toy Biz like 1993 figure. Everything progresses. Technology gets better. And it's like things are just going to keep getting better. It's like what Trevor's going on about, re-releases. Like, Build-A-Figures, they've improved on them. Hasbro's now doing it. They've only had things for maybe 20 years, or Marvel Legends has been around for 20 years. Hasbro figures that they put out 5 years ago, they're putting out better ones. And people would complain, it's like, oh, this isn't going to be worth much now anyway. It's like, if you're collecting for monetary value, you're in this for the wrong purpose. Leave. It's like, just
do it. Do what you want, but do what you want. But I'm just, because you're right. That's the other thing, Rush, is like going forward, things are going to get better. I know people within the 1/6 world collected like all the sideshow Star Wars stuff, and they were not good, but at the time it's all you could get. And people, kept them mint and kept the boxes and stuff. And now you can't give those things away. And it's honestly like there is very few things these days that aren't like exclusives or just something that was just underproduced that are going to have any value, because everything is being overproduced and over collected and over kept in mint condition and things like that. And this is all nostalgia, stuff that we have nostalgia for, whether like 20 years from now, kids who are then in their 30s are going to have nostalgia for the Turtles or G.I. Joe. Who the hell knows? You know what I mean? Like, I've got a collection of Walking Dead figures that I'm trying to sell now because I don't think anybody's going to know The Walking Dead in 10 years, and nobody's going to want them. You know what I mean? Like, I'm literally just going to have to throw them in the trash.
They're the McFarlane.
No, these are 1/6. 1/6 stuff.
Cool.
Yeah.
Invest in Ben 10.
Yeah.
There's the future.
I was I was going to say, like, kind of going. I want to go back a little bit to what you had said, Trevor. There are a lot of lines coming out, especially these Kickstarters, and that's a question I didn't really think of. Like, I didn't really think about in that too, because now we got Savage Crucible, we got Spiro Toys, we've got Jada Toys entering as well, not even a Kickstarter, but just selling Street Fighter figures at
Biblical
a price
Adventures.
Point.
If you're into that.
Who? Oh,
Biblical Adventures.
Yes, where you can have your own Ark of the Covenant,
your own personal Jesus.
Yes, Jesus Force. What did he say at Legion Con? Jesus Force Ghost. Yes. But yeah, it's so much. Even Loose Collector. I forgot about them. Loose Collector.
Yeah,
coming up. Mr. Hyde's getting ready to drop soon. Next month. Thank you, Bart. Fist from Dominant Art. Yeah, Plunderlings. So much is a wide array of like people who've started their own toy line, giving us more options than impossible. Now it makes it even harder. Now you have to really be kind of stingy with your dollars. Be like, ooh, I want to help this person, so I'm going to help this team. Make it with their Kickstarter. But that means I might not be able to get those Marvel Legends or those Mayfex or those SHS figure arts I wanted to get, or that Mezco that may drop later on. It's you really have to sit down. Like now, at the point you really didn't have to budget too much, but now you have to sit down and say, what can I afford at this point? What can I prepare for now? Because we know it when you order something from Hasbro Pulse, and you see it hits you quick. They're like, hey, this is starting to charge. Or if anybody else, or if you import, they'll say, hey, guess what? This came in. We want to need our cash funds. I'm like, you're just like, and that might be one of those weeks where you're cash strapped. You're like, you're tightening your belt really tight, and you're trying not to. And you're just like, and you fall into that hole. And now it's like, all right, maybe it's time. And then I've seen it with some people like saying like maybe it's time just to go ahead and just stop collecting altogether, because it just becomes so much of a cash trap at some point in their lives, and it doesn't bring joy. It's more of what can I afford. If it's not bringing joy and you're going to that what can I afford, then yeah, it might be time to sit down and have a serious talk with yourself and saying, is this really where I need to be right now, or do I need to step away, then come back?
And who doesn't have that pile of stuff that's untouched and unopened that they ordered that they had to have? I'm looking at it right now, and it's like it depresses me every time I come down here, because it's like I bought this thing. It's very cool, but I this is not part of my collection. And that's where I am this year. Like, I know we're going to get into that, so I won't go too deeply in that. But there's a lot of stuff vying for your attention. And I got to say, to the big companies, they're not watching right now. But maybe, I don't know, maybe Dan. But like those guys aren't in charge of anything. That's the other thing, is like, leave Dan alone and leave Ryan alone. But they got to watch out, man, because I think there's a lot of interest and you're getting a lot more bang for your buck from some of these third-party companies who are willing to take less of a profit, just to have a line out there and make a living out of it, a living, you know what I mean? A working living. Whereas, Hasbro unfortunately wants to triple its profits over the next 5 years. So, we're going to be paying for that in some small way, because honestly, the action figure line for 20 to 40-year-olds or whatever the hell it is now is a small part of what they do. You know what I mean? They don't really care. It's not, and I'm not saying they don't care. They don't care in that it's like they want to make that money, but if that goes away, there's other things that they're making money from. But if it's important to them, they've got to be careful, because there are a lot of people nipping at their heels right now for people's money. So that's all.
Hasbro's not going broke anytime soon. I don't.
No, not the company.
No. And I don't get involved in these industry politics too much. I want to have fun with my collecting. I'm not here to stress over things. If I want politics, I'll watch something else. But what I will say is it's been very eye-opening, all the layoffs that I have been seeing happening at Hasbro. And I'm not going to sit here and speak too much on that. But you mentioned the Marvel Legends team. our interactions with those guys have been fantastic. I like those guys.
Awesome.
I'm on record saying that. You know,
They're awesome. Yeah.
when Ryan was here on the channel with us, he was incredible. But that makes me that much more worried for guys like that, because for as much as I like those guys, as they always credit their crew that's not on camera with them, all those great people, it gives me pause, because I'm like, man, like that stinks if like there's these hardworking employees at that company who literally just walk in one day and it's, hey, we need to get rid of you. Adante, you're a wrestling fan. WWE, notorious for cutting guys just to try to say they're saving money in the back end to their stockholders. So
that's a big company. And that is, I mean, the thing that I was seeing, like, you know, and I'm not going to point out anybody, I stuck my foot into it, but like, this is, unfortunately,
Go
this
to the dark
is
side.
business that we're just talking about from our perspective, and a company that we know that's in that arena, you know, that they're not blue chip, but they're up there. You know what I mean? It's a multi-billion-dollar company. This is what they do. And I don't like the practice from anybody, but everybody is doing it right now. You know what I mean? Everybody, we are at the mercy of stock prices and shareholders, of which some, you know, we are in some cases. You know what I mean? I may own Hasbro. I don't even know. But maybe in one of the, you know, some 401k or whatever. But you know, I mean, that's where we're at. So like, I don't look at Hasbro laying off people like, oh my God, how can they raise prices and lay people off? And this is business. It's business. Exactly. It's business across the board, from oil companies to toy companies to diaper manufacturers, everything. This is what they do. You know what I mean? So you can't really, I don't know, get too, I hate the practice again, but you can't get too crazy on Hasbro for doing what every large shareholder owned business does. This is what they do. That's where we are in a capitalist society. You know?
Real quick, just to kind of jump off of that too, like I think a lot of blame lays on Hasbro. A lot of people blame Hasbro for stuff. Like you said, it happens for everybody. And I'm not trying to say this to be rude about anybody, but even it goes for me. If you work at a job, everybody knows they're expendable. If they laid you off and they brought somebody in for maybe cheaper on $1, they'll say, hey, we'll bring this person in and they can do it for cheaper. Companies will do that, unfortunately. But you just, like, some folks I've seen just lay it at Hasbro's feet. What about Disney, who's doing layoffs? They didn't even give a number.
It's everywhere.
They're laying off people.
Yeah.
But I didn't see any backlash or any kind of say, hey, I'm not going to see Ant-Man Quantumania this weekend because Disney laid off all those folks.
Yeah, I'm done with the MCU because they laid people off.
Exactly. But if Hasbro does something, it's like, oh, they're being greedy. Oh, they're reaching into your pockets. The thing about it is, you can't be one way. I was going to save this till later, but I'm going to kind of dip into it now.
Sorry, I didn't mean to jump.
No, you're fine.
We tend to verge back and forth very quickly on this channel. We pivot a lot, so we're taking a pivot.
Pivot.
The thing is, you can't be for one thing and not against the other.
Yeah,
you can't be like Hasbro's doing people dirty, and be like, you know what, Disney's okay with me. I'm still going to go see these movies. I'm still going to do this. You got to be with it across the board. And like I said, I know I'm expendable at my job. If I got laid off tomorrow, and they could probably bring somebody in cheaper, honestly, they probably could. That's it. That's the company doing their part. I can be mad all I want. Yes. But they're doing it to try to save money on their end so they can make their profits. And then you know what? And this is a great, sometimes it's a great thing. You never know if that's the shining light to seeing what's on the other side of the grass. Because sometimes they say the grass is greener on the other side, and you may get something much more better, or a place that treats you much more with much more respect. And I have to say, and like I said, this is all for me, my experience, and my opinions. My job has treated me with the great and utmost respect that I've had than any other jobs I've had. I have not once come home and been angry or upset at my job. And very few people can say that. And I'm fortunate enough to be one of those people, and I love it. And I do not take it for granted one day. But when I see, and I try to come home and relax to something that I enjoy, and I'm going through social media and it's, hey, Hasbro's doing this, Hasbro doing that. YouTube, hey, how's Hasbro taking your money this week? How's Hasbro doing this? You gotta let it go. You gotta let it go.
Yeah, and it's from people who collect Hasbro. Like that here's the thing. Like, correct me if I'm wrong, because I didn't jump into this, I jumped into 1/6 first, so I wasn't really into Marvel Legends when things started to come back. But you got to credit them with, like, in a big company and this division and the people who were in it and running it, like Dwight and things like that, for bringing all that stuff back and actually getting figures of characters that, like, they're not selling a lot of, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, it's amazing that they've gotten some of these things out to people. I mean, it's great that there are collectors, and there's a lot of collectors. This is, as everybody says, is a golden age of toys. But like, when were you going to get, I'm struggling to think of somebody, but one of these cosmic characters, Jesus, I can't remember. What was the guy with the control panel? Anyway, like, you know what I mean? Like, one of these obscure high evolutionary, the one of these obscure Marvel characters in a figure form. You know what I mean? You got to give them credit for that. You know what I mean? To some degree of bringing this stuff back, because I think they were on the forefront of this whole surge in toy collecting in the last, 15 years or so. So, and now, they're a mega company, and like they're going to do what they're going to do. Psycho Man, another one. Yeah, somebody said Rick Jones. It's pretty crazy that they're even still listening. Like, I give Ryan and Dan and Dwight credit for going back, and I know that room is not like, hey, they're standing up at the front, well, I think we should do Psycho Man. You know what I mean? They're just like being told, like we've heard a lot. People would like Psycho Man. What do you think? And can we reuse this, and how much is the cost? And let's run the equations and like figure out if we can do Psycho Man. And they get Psycho Man done, and you're like, yeah, but he's $25.99. It's like, well, yeah, this is where we are. And then people give them shit. It's like, it's not their fault. You know what I mean? They don't have any control over that.
That's the point. Look how hard Dan Yoon fought to get the Apocalypse X-Men Marvel Legend retro card to have that additional one piece. Like, he fought for that. But I'm going to stop myself there. 3 quick points. 1, I'm loving you spitting that in the background, Mike. That's awesome. 2, I have a lot to add to this part of the conversation, but I'm going to shut up for now because I've talked a lot, and I feel like I've not given Mike or Rush a chance to talk a lot. So I'm going to turn it over to those guys because I don't want to sit here and monopolize. Go ahead, guys.
You want to go, Mike, or should I?
I'll let you go, man.
Well, kind of piggyback on a bunch of different things that have been said. One, what Tim said about transparency and everything with the different companies. One, you can't compare Valverse to companies like Hasbro. How many people does Bobby answer to? It's his company. If he's going to say something, which good or bad, he does. But it's like, when you come to Hasbro, you have so many executives over you. You can see in the different things that Dan Yoon or Ryan Ting say, is like, they want to tell us what's going on. Their hands are tied. So when it comes to transparency, I don't blame the guys. They're trying to do as much as they can. But it's like, at the same time, it's like, you have people that are bitching. It's like, oh, Hasbro's laying people off. But at the same time, like, oh yeah, that Paul Harding head sculpt is amazing. Paul Harding doesn't work for Hasbro. He's an independent contractor. So guess what? To hire more independent contractors like Hasbro or all the public keeps on saying, oh, this sculptor is amazing, they should hire him. Loose collector, they should do this. Hey, guess what? They're paying these people to do that. But in order to pay these other people to do it, they got to let off other people that actually work there. You can't have it both ways. Oh, Hasbro should fire people. Turn around. Oh, Hasbro's firing people. They shouldn't be doing that. What do you want? If you're just, it's like nitpicking everything just to find something to bitch about. It's like, pick one lane and go down it. If you want Hasbro to fire people, be happy when they fire people. If you're going to be upset when they fire people, then don't say, oh, hey, they're sucking, they need to fire people. It doesn't make sense. And it's like, as Dante said, these are big companies. They're multi-billion-dollar companies for a reason. Sign a little higher. We only saw the first line.
Yeah, I like the...
I like big butts, and Legends team a lot. Yeah.
Just for the record, I want to add
Tim's not going to speak, but he's just going to hold up signs like Bob Dylan. He's just going to have cards in the back. Like he's just gonna...
I said I wouldn't speak over people, but I will hold signs while they talk.
It's like companies are finding ways to make the most money with spending the least amount they can. That's business politics. Anyone that does not understand that really needs to stop speaking up, because you just sound foolish when you're talking about manufacturing, or God, what's the term that we're looking for? Why prices have gone up. Inflation has gone up so much, but these should only cost this much more. Not realizing it's like, hey, inflation's infected the whole world differently. So, hey, all these toys are not made in the United States. They're made in another country. So we have to pay the other country's inflation prices to get it's like, there's so many things.
Shipping.
Like, just
insane.
People that are speaking about things honestly don't know what they're talking about. It's like, I don't know. My
Rush,
2 cents for now.
With that said, though, Rush, I have to really push back this much, because I feel like a lot of people, and again, there's broader issues. The toy community is a microcosm of the rest of the world. It really is in many, many ways. But I will push back a little bit there, because in my experiences, a lot of times when people get into trying to say inflation is okay, it happens everywhere in the world, I also hear the same people, well, you just said they shouldn't contradict themselves. They contradict themselves and say these companies who right now we're saying it's okay, they're raising prices and cutting and eliminating jobs. But those same people, other side of their mouth, will say, well, these companies are making too much money, record profits, they're evil. So I just think that there is, and that's a broader conversation for another day on another channel, but it's a microcosm. So you're going to have different bits and pieces that do influence into this. Sorry, I said I'd shut up. Mike, if you are up.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing, but I just want to say, like, Omega Weapon 13, who's awesome, but he said, like, Hasbro is the mafia. The mob boss will never acknowledge you buy or don't buy. Yeah, but it's a business. This is what my point is. Like, they're out to make money. They're not out to be your Marvel buddy and like give you everything you really want. That's the people who are fighting, again, Dan and Ryan and Dwight, like fighting to get characters that we want, that they hear from us all the time. That's kind of their job. Not really. I mean, Ryan and Dan are just supposed to market what they make. But they do that. So then I don't say they're the mafia, man. They're a business, and the action figure department is a small part of even the toys that they make. You know what I mean? Yeah, and like you were saying, Tim, is like the toy industry as a whole is huge, but it's like it's still not the biggest of businesses in the world. You know what I mean? So we're a microcosm of a microcosm in this world of collectible action figures that aren't made for kids. You know what I mean? So like, yeah. It's a business, man. This is what they do. They're out to make money. And yes, they don't really care. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, no.
And that's the biggest thing. It's like people see Hasbro on the action figures or toys and think that's all that they make. It's like, we have Transformers Rise of the Beast coming out. Hey, Transformers is a Hasbro brand. They're making money off that movie. So it's like, everyone's like, oh, Hasbro wants to double their profits. Yeah, and how many different streams, how many different revenues? Like, it's not just, oh, we're going to raise the price of toys. How many different cartoons are they having coming out based on their products? There's different ways of, making it. I'm not saying that that's only what they're doing, but I'm not saying that's not what all avenues that they're looking at. There's so many different avenues that Hasbro alone does.
Yeah.
And if you calls me a Hasbro or a shill because I'm talking logical about a toy company, you're an idiot.
Sorry. Sorry. Go ahead.
So I was gonna say, sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. No, go, Mike. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, I know, obviously the price is going up is awful. Supply chain is still busted, and for all we know, a lot of the problems could be, tied to the licensing and the shipping portion of it. So it could be tied to that, but essentially we'll never know, because those companies, the only one that's really come forward is Valverse, saying, their shipping charges were, astronomical, and had to, think he was talking about when the line first started dropping, like that Sergeant Slaughter, the first one. I think he said Big Bad Toy Store at the time didn't do like express shipping or didn't like order from them versus him. People that ordered directly from him got theirs first because he had to bite the bullet and do express shipping, beat out the what was stuck on ships or stuck on just stuck in containers and couldn't get shipped out. So it could be these companies getting pushed by other factors to do that. That could be some of it. Obviously either way it stinks, and I wish they could get some control of that. I mean, that's ultimately all up to them. As far as these teams, at least we have somebody in our court, so to speak, that pushes for us. I know they might not publicly, but I know some of these teams. I've talked to some of their, I kind of get around. I've talked to some of these, people that are on these teams, and a lot of them, they do have characters that we want. They would love to be pushing, as obscure or as maybe not in the public eye at the moment as we would want, as they have to push for like who's out there for entertainment, like that supports the money that you would get. Obviously, we're just a small part, and they need to have that new entertainment pushing for the next the next brand or the next characters of that line, and not so much the characters we want. And I know most of us could probably say that about the Star Wars brand. As we're trying to get those characters we really want, like the droidicas and the Star Killer and stuff like that. And meanwhile, we got the random female number 2 that was on like 2 scenes that we don't really care about. Yeah, I do want to.
Yeah. Just real quick, just to wrap this up. So, I think that's one thing we have to give props to with the Marvel Legends team, and somewhat to the Power Rangers team, and a little bit to the G.I. Joe team. When we say like, "Hey, we want to see these characters," they will try to go to bat for those characters that we see. And you got to imagine like trying to sit there and explain to a boardroom full of people who wear maybe suits. I'm just saying, just a general thing of suits, and you're trying to explain why this character you can make this character from the parts that you may already have, or you may have to make a new mold for this character, but it will sell and make the money that you need back for that. But also too, we do look a lot at the licensing and the factories that are making these figures, but like eggs, we don't know like what needs to be like made for the plastic itself. Like when I read an article on eggs, how much went into just getting, feed and everything else that goes into having a farm full of chickens to get eggs from them. It was astronomical. Like the people that they were getting their stuff from was going up in prices, but we don't know on the back end how much it is to get the ingredients for the plastic that may have gone up to make the figures. So that's another thing that we don't see on that back end that we don't know unless you're doing some deep dark research and you're like going and asking around like, this would be the best kind of time to do like a toy documentary from beginning to end, like shelf. Like that's what it's called. It need to be called like from beginning to shelf, the toy life, the toy industry life. That
in the Cell Company, where are you at right now? Let's get them out there.
Exactly. Like, yo, and that's another company I forgot. And the Cell Company, reaching back into some of our childhoods and bringing back some of these older toys. That's another one that we haven't looked at. But it's a hard thing to complain about. I shouldn't say complain. To try to understand about. It's so much involved. And sometimes this is why we see like a lot of people who do Kickstarter don't make it, because it's a lot more involved than they thought it was. You got to keep in contact with the factory at late dates, at late times. Because like if you're talking to China, you're not talking to them during daytime. You're at night. You may be up to like 2 or 3 in the morning trying to get hold of somebody to speak with them, and then find out what's going on their end. And they have to talk to whoever they get their product from to see when it's coming in and see what's happening with that. So there's a lot of steps in between that we don't see and we don't know the full factors of, that makes it even harder to work with and understand why prices may go up. Because if the ingredients for plastic goes up, the factory has to pay a higher price. Then it passes on from those people down to the factory, to the person who wants it manufactured, to the manufacturer, down to the customer. It's what do they call it? The trickle down effect. I know some of you have heard that. The trickle down effect. From the top all the way down, it trickles down.
And I know you want to move on to that point, though. Smaller companies are nimble, bigger companies are not as nimble. So it's like there's just going to be bigger costs. When you say that Falaverse can keep prices at X, Four Horsemen can keep prices at Y, why can't Hasbro? Different animal.
Or if you're on the stock exchange or a private company.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Dante,
right.
To go along with what you said, Dom put in a comment that kind of figures into that about shipping costs. He has some experience with that. He said that when shipping prices was at its peak, the price of a container went from maybe $3,000 to about $20,000.
Exactly.
And it's come down, but not to the level it was, but pre-COVID. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Right. Because things are
and that's the problem with any type of company. It's like once prices go up, they're not coming back down.
Right. And I'm not sitting here saying that I know everything. And a lot of us are not sitting here saying that we know everything about the manufacturing of toy business.
I personally think Mike knows everything. I'm just saying it. Just saying. He's the quiet guy that knows everything. Tell him.
Yeah. You know what? I would love to have like Hasbro or something do like a full, like I would love to see like a from little chemical to full out, end of the line action figure like show or some kind of documentary about that stuff, because I think that would be amazing. One of the best experiences I had was when they had the Hasbro.
Hasbro's going to do that, but
I would love when they had the Hascon in 2016. I was one of the lucky people that actually got to go to that show because it was actually close to me, and we get to see like how like the 3D printers had started. Like they brought some of the 3D printers to show off some of the stuff they were doing, and they had some of the painters, actively painting, one of the Wolverine figures they were doing at the time. But I wish they would do more stuff like that to show these people like what comes with their money,
Dante.
They kind of did that with the 66 show.
Was it David Vonner on Infinity Equation a couple of years ago with you guys? I believe his exact words were, "I can't tell you that. That's the secret sauce." Were his exact words, if I recall correctly, that they got very deep into the conversation, Mike. But literally, it was like, we don't want to let them know that it takes us 75 cents to make an action figure. That's why Walmart can clearance it at $5 and still make money. So they don't want us to know that because they'll scare us a lot. Sorry, Rush.
Just real quick. That's with anything. Like when you buy an expensive gaming system, like you buy a PS5 or Xbox, those parts are very cheap, but they're charging you to put it together and put it out there too, because it's costing them more money to have to put it all together and get some of those parts, especially Intel chips. I think the Intel chips, I'm not going to sit here and say I know the price of them, but it's like the Intel chips, you get the motherboard, you got the disk drive, all of that starts coming together. And then it starts like, okay, how can we price this to get our money back? Because remember, for a while, Sony was taking a loss on it. And now I think they're just breaking even on their systems. So it's with anything you get, computers, any electronics, TVs, whatever. Those parts you can probably go out and buy each one of those pieces individually and do it yourself. And you say, well, this only cost me $45. That's great. But now you're manufacturing it for more people. Now you got to make it. Sorry.
Go ahead. Don't finish. I'm sorry.
Now you got to have somebody make more parts of it. Now you got to find who's going to make more disk drives for you, who's going to make more chips for you, who's going to make more motherboards for you. It's not all.
And then you got to sell it to a retailer who wants to mark it up 40 to 50%. Every retailer wants to take a product and mark it up 40 to 50%. So you have to sell them at a price that you are going to make a profit from. And then they're going to make a profit from 40 to 50%. You know what I mean? So, you know, I know we got to move on. We got like a lot of questions.
Well,
go ahead, Rush.
Real quick,
last comment.
Just perfect example of what Dante's saying. It's like we've all here had to take our car into the shop to get repaired one way or another. We look at that bill. What costs more, the parts or the labor?
The labor, always.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when it's plumbing, Rush.
Yeah. But nice. I'm not gonna go there.
It's like you brought that traumatic experience.
But it's like you gotta think, it's like people buying all these parts from different places, but then it's like all these places are paying for people to put things together, but they're also paying for the actual, shop or warehouse where they're building all of this. So it's like there's so many different costs that so many things are factoring down. So next topic. Move on.
There you go. All right. So second question is, do you have an endpoint in collecting, and or how long do you think you plan on keep on collecting? We'll go with Rush. We'll start with Rush on this one. It's a hard one.
For me, it's going to be when I run out of room, which that's nearing its process now. But as people are talking about, it's like there's so many different people making so many different things. Like me, and Dan Hu even gives me credit for this. I'm very controlled with what I buy. Yes, I have this huge, collection around me, but I don't go off and I don't buy everything. It's like I buy stuff that means stuff to me. It's like I don't buy G.I. Joes. I don't care for them. I'm not going to buy Valaverse ever because I don't care for military things. It's like Transformers, He-Man, G.I. Joe, or not G.I. Joe, Turtles. I love what if it means something to me, I'm going to buy it. It's like that's how it's like Four Horsemen, the Mythic Legions and everything. Those figures look amazing. I have no connection to them, so I'm not going to buy them. It's like Mezco, Mayfex, like if they do a character that I'm absolutely in love with, it's like if another company doesn't make it, I might pick it up. It's like that the Four Horsemen, Headless Horseman. It's like I love the Legend of Sleepy Hollow. It's like I was just at Disney today. It's like that's what I grew up on. It's like, yes, I'll add that figure because it means something to me. But just random alien stuff like that, no. Other people, if they love it, buy it. Add to their collection. Me, it's like I can only go so far as I honestly draw the line different places. Like I love Thundercats. I'm not going to buy the Super 7 ones because I don't think they're worth it. It's like I'm very controlled with what I buy, and my collecting's probably going to be until I just don't find the happiness and won't buy it anymore if it's honestly just not worth the price, or I'm 6 feet under or cremated. Yep. One extreme to the other.
Yeah. Trevor?
First of all, Rush, you will buy Mythic Legions. It is going to be my like you buy Mythic Legion. No, but do I have an endpoint?
Oh, he's spit in the rack. He spit in the rack.
Where's it going to end? It's like The Price is Right. I'm getting to the endpoint, man. Like, because I think I'm redoing my basement. I'm going to try and make more room. But when I think about that, I'm like, what am I making more room for? You know what I mean? Like, there's some of the stuff that just doesn't. I'm at a point with the stuff that I'm like, I'm looking around. I'm like, I don't really, I'm like, I love the collecting, but I love the photography end of it too. Like, and if I'm not, if I'm just collecting something to like, oh, I've got an idea for maybe someday might want this, Marvel bad guy to shoot a picture of, but otherwise it doesn't mean anything to me, and I don't really care that it's on the shelf or not. I really shouldn't have that. You know what I mean? And just grabbing stuff that looks cool, that some of this new third-party stuff, and I think I'm stopping there. And then, like, you think about, I mean, honestly, I'm sure I'm older than all of you, but I don't want to leave this stuff to my, like, I don't have kids. So even if I had kids, your kids probably don't want this shit. I mean, quite honestly, it's a hassle if they're not into this stuff. Maybe you have a kid that's into Star Wars or whatever. Maybe they want it, but I'm not. If I leave this stuff for my wife, I know my wife. She'll just like, here, take it all for $200. It's all yours. You know what I mean? I'll just be rolling in my grave.
Real quick before someone jumps in, I just have to get on Trevor about one thing that he said about coming from someone that lives in Florida. Basements. What are these things that you're talking about?
I'm sorry, Rush.
What are these basements?
This is an underground dwelling that usually resides below your house, directly below the house. Yes. It's nice and cool. There is no humidity that destroys your pleather goods, generally.
Please just clip that 45 seconds and put it on YouTube. That's all I want on there. What are basements? Make it a short. Make it a short on the channel.
What is basement? So
it's
yeah,
like
I'm thinking
it's like these people that talk about this cold, like white icy things that form outside on the ground. It's like, what is that?
I'm in the Northeast and I didn't get any of that this year either. So
right, yeah, it's been warm. It's
I'm like
60 or 70. But so go ahead.
It's ridiculous up here. It's so stupid, man. I like snow, but now I'm done with it. I don't want it anymore. But yeah, I mean, there's some stuff that I'm like, it's like we were talking about earlier. It's hard to sell stuff, and you think about again back to kind of what we had in the last conversation. The less people are interested in it, how long are you going to hang on to this stuff before you can't even get rid of it? You know what I mean? And it ends up in the bins in the toy shows that you see. You go in there and it's just bins and bins of Toy Biz figures that nobody wants and you can't sell for $1. Like, at what point is the stuff that you love and you hang on to just going to be, I hate to get dark, but kind of worthless plastic because you can't sell it off. There's a new version, there's a better version, there's new articulation. A new company took over the line, like the DC,
Hey,
from McFarlane.
If you don't want those 1/6, I'll take them.
Oh. If you can pay for them, Mike, you can have some of them. But that's the point. You gotta sell it now. This is where like I said, the Walking Dead stuff. I think the Walking Dead is already waned. I have Game of Thrones figures too, 1/6 figures, and I'm trying to sell those because I think that's kind of what are you going to do with that in 10 years? Nobody's going to even remember that. You know what I mean? I don't think people are going to be terribly nostalgic for it. Maybe I could be wrong, but
now and pawn it off as Last of Us.
That's true. I could do that. Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's why I stay away from MCU type of collectibles.
Because it's very topical.
I'd rather buy comics because Walking Dead or Game of Thrones or anything like that, live action, those roles can be recast. You're going to have a new actor.
But the comic books, they're going to change costumes. They're going to be on different teams. They're going to die for at least 2 years anyway and come back with a different costume. You know what I mean? It's there's going to be a new Wolverine that has a new costume, and now he's orange and black or something, and it's nobody wants that yellow and blue tiger stripe Wolverine anymore. You know what I mean? It's all kind of fleeting. We're all in love with it because we love these things, but you got to think about the future. Unless your kids want it, unless they've said they want it, I think you got to have an end game in mind and at least have a list of stuff and the prices for the people who you leave the stuff to if you happen to shuffle off this mortal coil in the next day or two. You know what I mean? Just have a price list or something.
That's kind of what my wife sell it too. I definitely get that same feel because I do have kids, and I've tried to hand off my my interest to them, and literally they make Ninja Turtle. Well, they used to make Ninja Turtles in little kid size, and my kids kind of got interested when was it Nickelodeon did the CGI Turtles, which actually I love that one. It was amazing. My daughter kind of got interested, but then once tablets and everything else came along, it's just junk to them.
Yeah. Yeah, kids don't collect toys, I don't think, man.
Not as much. I think it's only if the parents do. So I've seen a lot of kids who their parents collect, and then they kind of find what they out of that collection, what they start gravitating to and what they like.
Well, it's funny because like I know I've said it on like Chat Migos once. They like my son got into Monster Jam because Blippi pushed it on his little show. So then my son, gravitated towards all the big trucks. So now we've been collecting Monster Jam stuff together. Kind of like when my daughter was in the Ninja Turtles, we collected Ninja Turtle stuff together. And you kind of got to go where they go. So it's not so much me pushing my stuff on them. It's more of them pushing it on me. Like I wouldn't have thought of buying a Back to the Future monster truck, but here I am with it,
Yeah. Here in the toy groups, we are not about indoctrination. We're going to let them choose what they want. It's like religion. I'm not going to, force one side or another onto my child. They'll get to choose what they want, DC or Marvel.
Have I told you about the good word of Mythic Legions? Can I have a moment of your time, Rush?
Unless you're like the Jehovah's Witnesses that started sending the hot, 20-something females to my door.
Oh, I have pamphlets.
Probably not going to happen.
I have a pamphlet.
Lord mercy. Yeah. We're not going to start with that. Tim, go ahead.
In an effort to regain some time, because I've blabbed a lot tonight and added the timeage of the show, I'll keep this short and sweet for the most part. I will add, side note, I agree. I don't think kids are really collecting toys anymore. They've tried, look at the Fortnite figures they put out. McFarlane did it. Hasbro's doing it. I was at Burlington Coat Factory, Dante, today, and old school Coat Factory. And and there were just stacks of new Fortnite that are still in Target. So they tried. Kids aren't into it. Short and sweet as far as this topic goes, I will collect action figures until either I don't want to anymore, or until I get very annoyed by something in the hobby that I just flip the switch. I'm kind of good at just saying enough's enough, I quit if I want to. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm just not. So one of those two things. I just wake up one morning and look around and go, wow, this got out of hand. Time to sell as much as I can. Or I just don't want to be around this topic anymore because X, Y, and Z pushed me away from it, and I'll move on to do something different.
Yeah. Looking at things, you got things like everything tangible is almost on the verge of coming extinct. I mean, look at cassette tapes, CDs, vinyls. Now everything's digital. It's sooner or later, everyone's going to be like, "Oh, who needs action figures when we can go and get NFTs?"
I'll have collectibles are NFTs now.
Yeah.
Go buy those Hasbro starting lineups. Get your NFT, folks.
Well, I think part of some of the issue is too kids. A lot of kids who have parents who collect, and it's not even and actually I should say this: it's some parents who don't have action figure collections. It's just kind of like how we were when we were kids. We sit in front of TV and gravitate to all those cool cartoons that were out there. This generation, it's more YouTube. It's what's the next coolest thing out there? What's the next thing that this YouTuber is promoting for kids? Hey, I got this. I forget who the father and son team is. A friend of mine was telling me about how much the kid just makes off of just talking about one toy.
Oh, the Ryan's World?
I think that's it. I think it's that one. And
that kid's not going to have any childhood himself, though.
Exactly. And that's a problem. And that's the thing. I'm just saying, if I had a kid, I think that's the one thing I'm not going to get them started on. Hey, we're going to sit here and enjoy some old school cartoons. I'm not trying to push it on them, but I'm also trying not to push hey, I don't really want to be bothered. Why don't you sit here and watch YouTube all day as well? We're going to watch. I got Wacky Races on DVD. We're going to see some Wacky Races. I got Freakazoid on DVD. We're going to watch some Freakazoid. Yes.
Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead. I'll sorry.
And just to say this on my end, I have a friend who I said, look, if something happens to me, come in, take what you want, and try to sell the rest off and give the money to the family. That's it.
That's a good.
I hope you've involved your significant other in on this decision too, so she has a choice on what's done with her.
No, that's what she get. Well, she gets part of the money. Like she gets like that's what he's doing because she would know. She's not going to know like what the prices of these are, like which ones will sell and which ones are not. That's why.
I'm not talking that way. I'm saying that your friend doesn't come in and take your girl from you. Oh, he's gone. You're mine now. He said I can have anything I want.
It's like, who's this person in my basement going through all your stuff here?
No, because she's met him, and I trust him. Yeah, I trust him to the utmost ability. Like he's like family.
That's a good thing to do. Yeah,
that's a good thing to do. Take this full circle back to what Trevor said. Again, not to get dark, I agree. But I think akin this to having a will. None of us are spring chickens. You need to have a plan in your life. If I don't have kids either, Trevor, I don't intend to. And it's one of those things where have a plan. Dante just mentioned he's got a buddy that knows this stuff. I have some close friends. We've had those conversations, somewhat kiddingly, somewhat serious. Obviously, Tizzle, thank you here in the chat. She knows as well. But we've had conversations like, we're going to come in tomorrow. I get mauled by a lion, attacked by a cocaine-raged bear, struck by lightning, whatever takes me down.
Possibility.
Tomorrow. Yeah, whatever anvil falls on my head, whatever happens tomorrow. There's some sort of a plan in place that we say, and I'm sorry, I'm going to but I'll say, I know a local collector who's a good friend of mine, goes to my local comic book shop. His best friend in the world forever tragically passed away probably about a year or two ago. And this man had the most insane Star Wars collection, buckets upon buckets upon buckets, figures, everything, no kids. And when he passed, his family went in and they were like, what do we do with this? And the guy that I know, his friend that passed, they gave him a chance to go in and pick a few things out that he might want. But guess what happened? All that stuff got sold at a low price to, which is fine, whatever. That's how business works, to a local comic book shop. And I was given this story around Christmas. So now I walk in, I think I talked about this on the channel, Dante. Now I walk into that comic book store and I see all these buckets, and no ill will toward that store. That's how lots are sold. But you have to have a plan.
Yeah. And that's the one thing I did talk about my wife too. Like, we need a my reel, because just in case, something happens, like, look, I need to know my collection's in good hands. Like that, I love you, honey, but I need to know my kids. These kids that I put money into are in good hands, like Allstate. I'm like, and even like some, like I would say probably some of the graded comics I even have too, and like there's issues that I know that are worth money that could definitely sell, and it's very and I can tell you right now, it's probably like 5 issues that I have that are probably like worth something, just off the top. That's it. But the thing is, I want to have that something in place if anything goes wrong. And I'm just like, look, my friend's gonna come in, he's gonna do his job, take what he needs, he's gonna split the money with the family, whoever's still surviving at that point. If somewhere along the line I have a kid and they decide, and I'll put it in there, like if they decide they don't want it, it'll go to my buddy. Then I have to find the next person in line he would go to, who I know, who at that point is still alive to get it and sharing the spoils of it. Then they would. So honestly, and I'm going to tell the story real quick. When I was younger, I always said I was going to have a video will, and I was going to start rattling off stuff on it, and then I was just going to have a random episode of Sanford and Son just cut in the middle of it. So everybody's just like, "What is going on? Like, did he tape over this or something?" And it's just going to cut back saying like, yeah, and that's the end of my will, folks. That's it. I'm done.
Congratulations to everybody.
Everybody gets. And they'll be like, are you serious? He missed watch Sanford and Son this whole time. Just as something stupid to do before I, as I kick that.
But I mean, not to harp on this, but like when you put that on somebody, I've been through that in terms of like of an in-law, parent-in-law, and there's so much stuff to go through, and like you and I and even your friend can look through this stuff and say, okay, I think that's valuable, that might be valuable, but it is a lot. Like if you think about yourself going through and like, I have to sell everything in the next month, right? Like for whatever reason, like think about that task. That is a full-time job for me at this point, you know what I mean? And it's like, you know, putting that on somebody. Wouldn't blame anybody for just bringing people in and say, listen, come up here and, you know, maybe get an auction house or something like that. And, you know, they do those in-house sales where it's like the people go through and they value everything. And then people come through and just say, I'll take that, I'll take this. And you put them down, mark them down, take a percentage of it and give your family the rest. You know what I mean? That's what probably is going to happen. So if you're okay with that, that's cool. Or start getting rid of stuff now.
I think after this stream, everybody's going to start listing their stuff out.
I'm like, I'm ready to like take down shelves now. I'm like, really like, I'm throwing everything in the bin.
I didn't want to say it, but I will because you said that, Mike. I just put this in the comments. Everybody's watching, whether you're watching or listening on Apple iTunes later on. You can download these, folks. Capital letters. I put this in the chat. Please inventory what is in your collection. Take pictures in event of fire, flood, etc. I do this at least once a month. It doesn't hurt for insurance purposes. I try to do an annual room tour. That's not the flex because look at my collection compared to Russia's. I got nothing, right? But I do it for a reason.
Oh, this is green screen. These don't exist.
If I kick it tomorrow and that anvil from Acme lands on my head, at least the insurance company, or if there's a flood or a fire, look at the video. I had this stuff and it's on paper. So you're never going to get what it's worth, but at least you have evidence of what was in that room should something terrible happen. And it's happened to people. It's happened to people a lot, which is unfortunate.
Yeah,
exactly.
I know.
I don't think the life insurance is paying out for anvils on the head, though, Tim. So I think you're going to be SOL there. Back to God. Back to God.
Tim, have you ever heard of the song by Train, 50 Ways to Say Goodbye? That's just running through my head with all those things that you're listing off.
All right, folks. I'm sorry. Klaus said this is depressing. It starts like I'm sorry, but this is things that we need to think about. Honestly, like I understand it may be a little bit depressing, but it's things that we have to think about as we get older.
I mean,
I know
the name of the show is Collecting Our Future. We have to talk about the actual future here.
I was trying to pull Lady Death for my collection, but if I pull her out of there, these are all falling over. So you get the reference.
Yes, yes, we've seen 705, sir.
In a live stream, unless I knock stuff over.
All right. Moving on to our next question is the state of the community. Has it affected your collecting? We'll start with Trevor on this one.
The state of the community. How do you? I mean, what were you thinking about that when you're thinking about like just like the way the attitude of people, group chats, and YouTube,
like how it's been. Really, so like social media, YouTube, like how it's been within the last, I should say, like in the last year or so. Has it changed the way that you?
I gotcha. Yeah. Okay. So I would say yes, because it is. I mean, I occasionally look around here and like question, you know, how much I'm not going to stop. And there's certain things that I'm never going to stop. Listen, I work for Mythic Legion, so I'm not going to stop collecting Mythic Legions as long as I work for them. But it does make me. Yeah, exactly. I am sure. It's on the back of the shirt. If I could turn around, it says on the back of the shirt. I didn't wear the Mythic Legion shirt because I thought that would be too much.
Those aren't muscles. That's all the money they're paying you.
That's right. I just stuff it in here.
The stacks.
That's right. But yeah, I mean, the negativity and the kind of like, I think about this a lot, like because I'm doing YouTube shows and stuff like that. And just like, we're talking about this stuff and we're doing it tonight, so we're part of the problem. We like to discuss this thing. It's our hobby. I get it. But the importance that's placed on some of this stuff and the consternation that's elevated, the Hell Charger thing was like it was becoming a pinnacle for me. Like, this is ridiculous. Like, we're all adults collecting toys. Like, let's take it down a notch, man. Like, it's really kind of ridiculous, and it put me off a lot of stuff and made me question, how much I really want to get into this more than I already have, and how much I'd like to pare down and like just streamline my collection into things that I really love instead of like, I don't know. It's just the negativity sometimes that drives me away. I mean, places like the Cabal, yes, Mythic Legions, are a very positive place for the most part. There's negative things there too. So I like that, and that tends to make me want more of those than some other places that are kind of not quite as as friendly and appealing and just uplifting and positive. So yeah, for sure, man, it's definitely affected. Yeah, it's definitely affected me. It's definitely affected my buying too, I think, for sure.
Tim?
You know what? Here's the thing with that. I mentioned earlier that toy collecting, again, is a microcosm, and as Trevor went on to add, of a microcosm of a microcosm of a microcosm. And I'm through my channel, or whether I'm here on the Video Equation or elsewhere, it's not my job to tell you what to watch. It's not my job to tell you what you should collect. Are there channels that over the past 3 to 5 years I used to watch and don't anymore because I don't enjoy them? Sure. That's how life works. But here's the thing. If I don't like a channel, if I don't like somebody's content, if I used to listen to a podcast and I stop, I'm just going to stop. I said this earlier. I'll just stop. So, my thing is, yes, the community has become very volatile in many ways, but look around. Look around. That's the planet Earth right now, and it sucks. You guys know I've said this on and off camera. I hate tribalism. It's one of the reasons I'm not so much into professional sports as much as I used to, although I hate the Chiefs right now. Go Eagles. Because it was the Super Bowl, people.
Losers.
But I don't like this team mentality. I don't like this. If you're on this side, you can't be on this side. I don't think that's how life works. Life in some capacities, life can be, black and white in terms of like real bad stuff, right? But in terms of friggin' toy collecting, guys, toy collecting, okay? I'm not going to sit here and get personal like some people might or might not do online. If you have a different opinion than me, I'll sit here and chat it up with you. But I'm not going to sit here and question you as a person. So back to the original question, it doesn't affect my collecting as much as what I view and what I consume. If I'm watching regular television, if I'm watching a news channel, if I'm watching a TV show or cartoon or movie that I don't like the way it's going, and I think that they're pushing something I don't like, guess what I do? I shut it off. I don't watch it again. Same thing with buying toys. If I don't like what a company is doing, I'll stop buying it. I'll move on. This is a niche hobby that I feel like we don't need to destroy by becoming tribal and picking sides like kids at recess. So I've had people say it on my channel that I don't pick sides because I'm going to let people express their opinions. I might disagree with it, but I'm not going to necessarily go do a 15-minute video explaining why I disagree with somebody and not mention that person and dance around the topic. I just won't watch, or I won't engage with that person anymore. And I that's just how I live. That's how I move along. I'm in the middle, so everybody hates me. What can I say?
That's kind of like me. I mean, obviously, I'm a big Marvel collector, and here I am wearing, Larfleeze. That's kind of how it was back, being a kid. With
that's awesome, Rush.
The DC versus Marvel, and I think that made me miss out on a lot of good DC stuff. But I know as far as like the tribalism going on in the community, it does stink because, we're now, there's no HasLab Hell Charger because of it, which absolutely sucks. And a lot of that negativity has, it bled from, the anger of one thing to, one thing a company did to more than that, to the point where it was chasing customers away from a legitimate thing. I know obviously, maybe it didn't have value to some people, which you can understand, don't buy it. That's fine. But you don't need to actively chase people away and itemize why they don't need to buy it and ruin it when it's, like for a crowd fund. It's depending on those, those niche buyers that would have got it because it's a cool looking car, or because they wanted that one character that you're now saying is not the version of that character you want. But like I said, it all comes down to DC and Marvel, and how that tribalism went. But now it's a lot more politically driven, where politics have now embedded into people's. They got to wear it on their sleeve like we care. We really don't. I tend to be in the middle. Some people would think otherwise, but it's just, it's toys, and you got people that are literally, putting it into their, they're just trying to force their way into your face because they got they had a bad day and got laid off about it.
Yeah. I went back and forth on this a lot when I made this question. For me, I'm going to say yes. Because after the reason why I had to go back and forth on this, because doing the podcast and collecting has really kind of gone hand in hand. Of the reason why I kind of wanted to start, like I started doing this, and then the reason why I kind of collecting as well. It's very, very hard. Like Tim, I've really tried to stay neutral. But at this point, I have to say, it's become ridiculous. And yes, in a way, it has affected what I collect, what I post on social media, even the way that I have guests on the show. Is it going to be considered an issue with people coming in starting trouble because of other places that have stirred up this anger and vitriolness out of folks? And it's been tough. It's like, I still want to have fun and do this and collect, but then if I have this guest on, are they going to try to say I'm a shill for something, or am I, doing this for whatever reason? And I think also I consider it too is the reason why, and I'm gonna be blatantly true with this for everybody. I think the reason why I think this channel hasn't really grown in popularity, it's probably one because of me. Not gonna look. I'm not gonna sit here and lie. Probably because of me.
You stole my joke. I was gonna say it died when you brought me on. It's all over.
It was
I blame Tim too. No, I'm just kidding.
And I was disagreeing.
Dante, your issues with heights. You have a height.
No,
you're like different theme park rides. You have to be over this height to enjoy this channel.
I don't want to diminish what you're about to say, Dante, but I just want to say you're a great dude and you're very respected in the community. Please continue.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you, Bart. Thank you. Thank you, guys. I do. But also it's because this channel is not spewing out and going with the crowd. Mm-hmm. I think that's more with it. It's too. Like, I try to keep us, and I shouldn't say us. I say, because I love everybody's opinion, I try to keep myself as medium as possible in the middle, like just seeing both sides. And there's a way I try to do it respectfully, not to disrespect anybody's feelings, because we're all human. We all have feelings. And I've seen this happen with, even in the video game community. It's not just the toy community, it's the video game community too, where I forget what game it was, but Ubisoft had to call in a counselor to help their people deal with the vitriol stuff that was being said on Twitter. That's how bad it was getting.
Yeah.
So the thing for me is, it's like, I don't want it to ever get that bad where I say, you know what? I'm done doing this. I'm done doing the show. I'm done doing collecting figures. Because there was a time that I was, I'm not gonna lie, I was gonna think about hanging up the show. Mm-hmm. And none of this would be here. None of this would be here. I just go back to living my carefree life and not be on social media. But thank you to all the awesome people that are out here. I love you all. And I have to brag on this a little bit. The Discord channel that we have, the Facebook page that we have, I've not had to ban one person or even even kind of get mad at anybody. My mods do their job. Like, mods just can take a break, like they're taking just chilling, because there's not that kind of anger and hate in the group. In either of the groups, it's not that kind of nonsense in there. And that's why I feel like if you're looking for a safe place, you come to, if you're on Facebook, come to a Facebook group. If you're on Discord, come to our Discord group. Toy Migos, great, another group. Kevin's got a great group as well. Like, I want to try to keep it safe for everybody so they can just have fun. And I know having fun is like a dirty word now anymore, but that's how I feel. Like, there's times that I just want to like have certain guests on, so all you can ask the questions that you've been burning to ask. Because there's times like when we were all at New York, like there's questions that people wanted me to ask that I couldn't ask, but if they're here on the show, maybe you can get that question asked, no matter who it is, no matter who it is. And I feel it feels great when we did that. Like when we got the writers and directors on from X-Men animated series, the original X-Men animated series, that was like, to me, I was like, this would never happen ever in my life, but it's happening right now. We've had Cal Donnell on, the voice of Wolverine, which was freaking amazing. Like, we've had Bo DeMeo, who's now the new showrunner for X-Men animated series, X-Men 97. He's been on, talk with us. We've had Ryan Ting on.
What's up, Bo? What's going on, Bo?
Definitely, Bo. We had Ryan Ting on. We've had All Ego Ethan Page. Somebody I didn't think I would ever have any wrestlers on here. We had Chris Statlander on here. People I never thought we would have on here. We've had Marty and Sarah, who are great. We've had Trevor on. We had Tim on. Now we've had Mike on. We've had Rush on. We've had Cloud on. We've had Dan Who. We've had Brandon. Like, there's so many people that I could thank in helping being on this show to making it where it's at. It's not even funny, but it's you, the viewers, who have done the most of the work for me. And I appreciate that. I appreciate each and every one of you who watch this show. If you're new, thank you for watching it, giving us a try. Because I think without y'all back in this show, I probably wouldn't be doing this anymore, honestly.
Yeah.
But it's sorry. Just real quick, I'll just wrap this up. I think the most of it came to me being like disenchanted with collecting anymore was when the last HasLab, because there was so much other stuff that could have been talked about at that time. Could have talked about the Thunder Tank. Yo, it was a $450 Thunder Tank, no figures. But the HasLab gave you, 4 figures. We could have talked about the Hiss Tank, which kind of gave you maybe, 2 figures, I think, on that one? Mm-hmm. 2 figures. Yeah. Almost the same price. But that wasn't an issue. Snake Mountain, that one wasn't an issue. Mattel fans backed that. The WWE Classic Ring should have been Kickstarter. Should have been a Kickstarter or something that can be sold online or in retail. A lot of people didn't do that. Thank you, Rick. 3 figures for the Hiss Tank.
3 figures. That's right. Yeah.
Strike. Thank you. The NECA Turtle Van. There and everybody and their mama making a turtle van. Let's put it like they put it on everybody and their grandma making a turtle van at like $400. Like, but there wasn't as much backlash for that as it was that HasLab Engines of Vengeance. And then you had what was the other one? I can't think of the name of it. Sorry. It just
the Rancor and
the Rancor. Yeah,
that was
the Rancor.
A lot of Rancor over the Rancor.
Right. The Rancor, I understood. It didn't, you felt like you weren't getting your money's worth. That's a legitimate reason. If you
What,
feel
you
like
don't
you're
like
not getting
cardboard?
no, I don't like cardboard.
And bones?
But you
What are you gonna get bones? You all got them.
You could have a legitimate reason for any of this stuff. Like, if
Right.
you don't feel it, you don't feel it. And talking about it is fine. I don't like, and I think this is what you're getting at, that you don't do, and that I don't do, is we can go out and create a video like, whatever, that Hasbro is ripping you off or whatever as the title. You know what I mean? With the HasLab, with the Engine of Vengeance, and capitalize on it. You know what I mean? But I mean, listen. It's kind of the name of the game on YouTube. This is where we are. As Tim said, there's tribalism everywhere at all levels of the world, and people like to get in on something and sort of, or there is at least a certain type of person that likes to have, that feed them that hatred that they're feeling, or feel kindred spirit with somebody that, like, yeah, let's go get in on this guy and attack this thing or whatever. You know what I mean? It's the internet. The internet is cancer, but we're in it. There's nothing we're going to do about it. We're using it for good. At least we are. But there are people who are just gonna, there's a lot of people who made their name on that HasLab, that Engine of Vengeance, and made a channel, basically, got tens of thousands of subscribers because it was just video after video of this is bullshit, and Hasbro sucks, and it gets a little tired. That's all I'm saying. Like, that's why it's like,
Exactly.
I just, it does affect you. Like you said, it affects you. It does affect your thinking about the whole hobby in general. It's not going to stop me from buying something that I like, but it does feel like, man, this isn't, as much fun as it
I'll
should
add this
be,
real quick, and then I'm going to let Rush talk because he's ready to pop like a balloon over there.
I know. I got one more thing to add before you go, Rush. Sorry.
All right.
One more thing.
All right. So
before you go, Tim.
I was just going to say, on YouTube, there are certain channels, not even related to toys, I will never click on. Okay. And I don't use names very often, but in this situation, I will, because it's out of the toy community and I'm not starting beef with toy community. Okay. Everything Always. Okay.
Do it.
It's a YouTube channel that is it's a movie channel that they won't even know I exist. They have so many subs and so many views, so many, but every single thumbnail, every video they do is just lying about the next Marvel movie. Did you hear that the next Marvel movie is Ant-Man and Wasp might have Batman show
I know
up?
exactly what you're talking about.
And I'm like,
Makes me nuts.
People that are uninformed, which there's a lot of normies out there. No hate on normies. Okay. There's a lot of normies or civilians out there that aren't geeks like me who might be like, wow, Batman's going to show up in the Avengers, and they get 300,000 views. Mm-hmm. And that's YouTube, and that's the internet, and it's how things work. And as I said earlier, my take on it is, in life, there's both sides of everything. If I don't like it, I'm not going to click on it. I'm not going to watch it. I'm not going to engage with that person if that's the case. Sorry, Dante, Rush. I'm throwing the key away.
It is a tougher thing in a small community like this. That's all I'll say. It's like, it's tough to get away from it because somebody who knows somebody who, there's a handful of channels. There's a lot of toy channels, but there's still only a handful of things to watch. You know what I mean? You don't have to watch them though.
Exactly.
You can stay away.
So my last point is, this is your money. Do what you want with it. Make your decisions. And some of us can relate from back in the day, before there was even internet age. We had books. We had to do research. When you had to do a school report, you had to research. The thing is, we do have the internet now. You just got to be careful more of what's being put out there. But do your own research. Do your own due diligence. And as my mama and my whole family used to say, if somebody tells you if one person jumps off the bridge, are you going to jump with them? That's the thing. You have to make your own choice. Be a follower be a leader, not a follower. Always lead with your own thinking. Think about it. Does this sound right? Does this make sense? If I go research it myself, will I find a different answer? Or, hey, they may say something about it. Let me go do. Sorry, Omega's throwing me off. He's like, I'm jumping. Dang you, Omega. But the thing is, do your own research. So many things are open up to us to go and look up the information. Just use it for the right way. Don't just be willy-nilly with the information like most people are. Go do your own research, because you're your own person. You're the only person who can tell yourself what's best for you at that moment and what's not best for you. If you like that character and you see that they're doing the HasLab on it and you want to back it, that's you. Do that. If you want to do that, do it. If you don't like the character, say, okay, cool. It's not for me. I'm just going to back off of it. Hope everybody gets to enjoy, what they want. Don't be the killjoy of the party and say, hey, you know what? You're wasting your money, buddy. I say it jokingly about DC McFarlane figures, but you know what? If you like the DC McFarlane figures, enjoy it. I'm happy that you are happy. I joke about it a lot because of my interaction with Tiny Mac, and I think his Spawn's Kickstarter was a ripoff, but enjoy it. Have fun with that. I wish you all the best in life, and I wish all the good things happen to everybody here that's in this chat. I love you all. I just give a shout out to Greg and Bart. Greg and Bart are like my good guys. Bart was pushing for the Gundam show, and Greg is always giving me great ideas to do 3D printing on. But I appreciate each and every one of you. I love y'all with the utmost respect, and I don't think if anybody who's talked to me one-on-one, yes, I'll still trash. I'll trash AOA figures all day. I will. Let's see. What was I going to say? I don't even remember what I was going to say. But I appreciate you all. I think everybody who's had a conversation with me one-on-one, you all know that I have not been disrespectful to anybody. I have not treated you like you're some lower person. I've treated you with respect. We've had conversations together. I'm bad at keeping up with people. I'm sorry about that, but that's just
we never had that coffee.
Right. That is true. That's what I was going to bring up too. Is that we still haven't had the coffee. We have to get that coffee. But I appreciate you one. I would treat you always with respect. As long as you treat me with respect, I would treat you with respect right back.
Yeah.
I've only had maybe 2 interactions that I have a problem with 2 people, and I had to block both of them. So,
with that said, we'll be at ZoloCon this weekend, so feel free to come and talk to Dante and I. But it's been a great show, everybody. Thanks for watching. Have a great week, Rush. I'm just kidding, Rush. I'm just kidding. Dante, we have a super chat, and then let's Rush. Yeah. Let Rush has been patiently waiting, sipping on his hydro flask, have his say. Yeah.
Thank you from Detour Custom Stefan Delator. Says to infinity and beyond. Thank you for the super chat.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. All right, Rush, it is all yours, sir.
He's been there like the Nintendo controller. A button, A button, A button, A button, A button, A button, A button. Here's your A button, buddy. Go ahead.
He's jumping.
Saving this for last, man. What everyone else is saying, it's like I'm sorry. There's so many channels out there that they're fucking idiots. I'm sorry, they're fucking idiots, and they want to spout intelligence when they have none. And I'm sorry, if you believe most shit that people say, it's like there's so many people that are feeding off of hate because it's easier to spout bullshit to actually back up your claims. Because so many people will talk shit, and when someone actually comes back with logical information to actually offset that, these dumbasses on these other channels only come back with, oh, you're just a shill. Oh, hey, the good thing with technology is, as so many guys have said, you just choose not to watch Facebook groups and everything. You can also block people. And it's like, but the bad thing is these fucking morons, and yes, sorry, I'm going off on this shit. It's like their responses with, oh, they blocked me. They're off crying because I got to them. So no, we're not. We just don't have the, patience to deal with your bullshit. And as you guys were saying with the HasLab, the Engines of Vengeance, it's like straightforward. Tim may not want to call people out. I will. The fucking Brad's car bullshit. Oh, hey, jumping up. I got Brad's car. It has AM, FM radio that I'll probably never use. This will be cool for like 5 minutes until it blows over. Then it's going to sit in the corner and not make sense. But I'm going to talk about sales are up on shit. It's like, if you want to get the Brad's car, all to you. Guess what? There's not a single fucking Marvel character that drives a Bratz car or anything similar to it. So I don't want it in my collection. If you do, you do. If you don't,
wait. Point of order. The shelf just slightly off camera is your Bratz shelf. I thought those pictures looked awesome the other day. Please continue.
And feel free to let loose, man. Don't hold it back. Don't hold it back.
Yeah. Let it out. Yeah.
Yeah. No. Just all these different videos that are bringing up like, oh, the Batmobile remote control vehicle and everything. That's fine. Guess what? That also, went on fucking clearance before everyone bought it. Blah, blah, blah. I don't care. It's like, if you have to make videos hating on something to try and convince people, it's like everyone's like, oh, you're trying to convince people to buy this. No. What am I doing? Am I going into their bank account, pulling up their credit card number, playing? No, I'm just saying this is why we like it. I'm not making it say, oh, instead of buying this, buy this. If you're doing that, I'm sorry, you don't have the creativity or the fucking intelligence to make good videos on your own that all you have to do is just hate shit because it's so easy for you to spout hate without backing any of it up. It's like, if you want to talk about inflation is this or the cost is this, fine, whatever. We come back and say, hey, you're wrong, and you just come back with, oh, well, you're just a shill. You're a fucking dumbass. Anyone that uses this word shill to call out anyone else, except for Trevor, because he's a fucking Mythic Legion shill. We all know that. He's, trying to get us to do all this. But it's like, if you use that just shows your lack of intelligence. Again, I will repeat this. If you use the word shill to call out other collectors, your lack of intelligence that you can't come up with anything better than your fucking hater word of the month or day word of the day calendar insert here. I'm sorry. I'm never going to watch any of these, arts or ninjas or POS shows. I don't care, because guess what? I'm all for Dan Who. I'm all for this channel because guess what? We're all about creativity. We're all about positivity. We want to bring this community together. We don't want to say, oh, hey, you can only follow us and fuck everyone else. We're not going to do that. I've gone on every single show since Dante has generously brought me on and said, hey, collect what you want. It's your collection. It's what makes you happy. It's what we are busting our ass every day working for. It's like, this is what we do. This is what brings us together. I'm not going to go and tell you. It's like, again, I've said many times, Mayfec's not for me. Mythic Legion's not for me. Mezco's not for me. Super 7's not for me.
Evidently, Mythic Legion's not for you. I don't know, but whatever.
I already said that, but I'm getting the Horseman, though. But it's like, I'm not going to talk about, I'm not going to talk anyone out of buying this shit. If you want that, that's you. But it's like, these people making these videos to hate on everything, to talk people out of this. Like, I'm sorry, Sharmis, how he came on, was like, I've decided to back out of doing the Engines of Vengeance. Why? Who cares? Okay, you didn't want to. Fine. Make that into like a post or something. You don't have to make a 15-minute video. Why? Because guess what? You're not the one making that vehicle. You're not the one working for Hasbro. You can't talk about what it has or what it doesn't have. And it's like all these are people like making a key terms like, well, it has a top, a middle, and a bottom. You're a fucking moron if you're using that again. It's like just the idiots. It's like that. That's what's overwhelming. It's like these idiots online are making themselves popular by just hating with so much misinformation. And it's like, oh, this ex-employee. Yeah, guess what? Any ex-employee is probably not going to have good things to say about their ex-company. Again, that's just common sense. But so far, common sense is just lacking. Like my shirt says, I don't give a rat's ass. I'm still going. You can talk shit about Marvel Legends, Hasbro, anything you want. I don't care. If I like it, I'm still going to buy it. Just collect what you want. You don't have to, feel like, oh, I have to get my voice out about this. I hate this so much. MCU's not for me. I only collect comics. Am I going online saying, oh, they're releasing another MCU character. Oh, hate on this, blah, blah, blah. No, because people do like that. Everyone has their own taste. Let them enjoy it. again, if you have to make a hate video over and over and over again to promote something to offset it, you fucking lack intelligence or creativity. But hey, if you get followers that way that feel the same way as you, more power. I'm all about positivity. I will follow Dan Hu because he's honest and sincere. Dante here, I will back him and defend him at all. And again, it's like we brought up on the show. Any super chats that you guys send to us, it's going to go for Toys for Tots. We're not going to be pocketing that. We're all about charity. We're going to donate that to kids that deserve it, that need it. It's like, that's all. Next topic.
Just we got to remember one thing is for every one negative thing that's said, you need to say about 7 positive things to counter that, usually.
Yeah. We do have a super chat from Nostalgia Not. Thank you for the super chat. I don't buy what I don't like. I don't watch what I don't like. Too much hate or shilling the company is a non-issue to me. And then he sent in as, I should say, they sent in a second super chat. Thank you very much. How many people would have backed the HasLab who would have backed that HasLab stop backing over a YouTube video? A different character would have funded the HasLab for sure. In that case, it was a lot. It was a lot. Now, granted, it may not have been the character that most people were familiar with or wanted as a Ghost Rider, but they had gave us the other 2 Ghost Riders, so I don't know why you needed the same 2 Ghost Riders over again, because then that would have been more people saying, why are we getting the same Ghost Rider again in the HasLab? But it was something different. It was something that was already in comics. Robbie Reyes was part of the Avengers team and was a big part of the storyline that was going on for that. And again, just real quick, just to rush the point, because I know Tim and Trevor have something to say. I try to make every time Toys for Tots to give back, to show that we care for something else more than just what we collect. There are kids who are in need, who need stuff. And honestly, this is coming from watch, and it gave me the great idea of we should give back from Toying Around Kevin and Just Jay Hernandez. Both of those guys. Both of those guys are influential and help and making me want to do that. Because I didn't think about giving back until man, you know what? That is right. As a collector, we should give back to the community, to kids who can't have toys. Even if it's not an action figure, they'll get something that they enjoy and they'll like, who may not be able to get the stuff that they want. The best way I could say this for you, Nostalgia, that's fine if if that doesn't affect you. But there's others who it does affect. I'm not saying that you're wrong in what you're saying. That's you, and that's how you do it. But there's other people who feel that way. If I made a video tomorrow saying, "Hey, guess what? You should have canceled that Batman Mexico '89. You shouldn't have waited 3 years for that. You should have been canceled that. Why would you wait 3 years for a figure to come out?" I could do that. But the thing is, I don't want to do that. Because I have nothing to gain from it. I have more to lose from it than to gain from it. And if people wanted that figure, enjoy. I'm happy you finally got it. I'm happy it's finally coming out. I'm happy that you're going to hopefully enjoy the figure that you get. But for me, I don't have the time to make 16 videos about why that Mezco '89 Batman should have been canceled. Or you should have got more of an update on it, or this and that on it. I don't have that kind of time. Because you know what? I got to work. I have a wife. I have other family duties. I have shows to make. I got 3D printing to do. I got figures to play with. That takes up the time. There's no real time to sit down and be like, you know what? Let me just bump all that and make 16 videos here. But go ahead, Tim.
All right. First of all, everybody who's watching right now, whether it's live or playback, deep breath and just relax a little bit. Okay. I just want to reiterate, we're talking about toys. Okay. Rush has a very personal, opinionated view on this, and I respect your right to have that view, that opinion. what I would like to say is that when it comes to YouTube, when it comes to people giving their opinions and making videos, I think it's important to keep in mind not to make these things personal. We're talking toys. Everybody has an opinion. The reason I bring this up, and Rush, I don't want you to feel like I'm trying to disagree with what you said, but I've had people on my channel say I'm too positive. I feel like if I go the route of attacking people and saying they're too negative, that I'm contradicting somewhere there the fact that, okay, people are saying I'm too positive. I think they're wrong to do that. So my take on it is, as I said earlier, people can share their opinions, their views online, as long as they don't make things personal. That's my take on it. Talk about the product, talk about whatever your opinion might be. As I mentioned earlier, if I don't like content, I'm going to stop watching it. I would reference everybody to go watch Retro Blasting's video from this past week. He had a great conversation with Articulated Ninja. It's a 3-hour long YouTube video. But honestly, if you go back and listen to it, I think a lot of good points were brought up. Dante, I believe Retro Blasting was on this channel a few years ago.
Yes.
Obviously he very much has a strong presence in the community. I'm not saying I endorse or disagree or whatever with thoughts, but it was a very good video. I wasn't going to watch it, but I did as I drove around, and I enjoyed it. If I don't like something, I'll stop watching it. But to me, the main thing for people to keep in mind is we should not be attacking people personally when it comes to these things. Just like I want to stay positive, this guy over on this side has the right to put something up that's negative. It's up to the viewer to decide what they're going to watch. And again, I think it's a microcosm of life. I think that it comes down to people are going to watch what they want to watch. That's just my take on that. But at the end of the day, I think that, and this is maybe more of a political view, I think more people need to have conversation and talk. I love Legos. I'm just kidding. I don't have any. That's cool. I think that if you don't want to watch something, that's one thing. But I think when people break down and say they're not going to continue to have dialogue on something, unless it's something very drastic, that's not good for any topic. People need to talk. Dante mentioned earlier, he really weighed this decision hard, whether or not to continue, moving forward. And Dante, I'm very happy you did, because I very much enjoy your takes. I enjoy being, a friend with you and being on the channel, because I think that people need to present different views. But at the end of the day, it's up to the viewer what they're going to watch, what they're not going to watch. I'm not going to tell you what to watch and not to watch, unless it's that freaking channel that lies about the movies and the scumbag that took my freaking Amazon figures out of the box. I don't like you.
Is that Emergency Awesome that you're talking about?
What's that?
Is that Emergency Awesome that you're talking about?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, it's actually not.
Okay. I thought it was.
As long as you have a giveaway at the end of the video, it's true.
I will add real quick, and that'll be done, Trevor. Emergency Awesome is a channel I watched like early in my YouTube days, and I still do sometimes watch. But I used to always argue with A Tizzle, the GF in the chat, my girlfriend Alyssa, that he used to say, "Hey YouTubers," and I thought he was saying, "Hey YouTube birds." I know that's dumb, but she would appreciate that. I was like, "Why does he say that? It makes no sense." And she's like, "You're a moron. You should never make a YouTube." So what did I do? I made a YouTube. But to close out, my personal take is don't make things personal. People are entitled to their opinions, and if you don't like it, don't watch it. If you like it, and that's your thing. If you like AEW, you like WWE, Omega Weapon 13, AEW is better. Then so be it. I'm good.
Okay, I'm going quick follow-up here and everything. And Tim, yeah, you're right on a lot of stuff you say. And to everyone saying that I need a hug, trust me, I come from a large family. I can turn this on and off very easily. But I'm the type of person that I will defend the people. And it's like, I have no problem calling people out. Talker Arts, I know he was in an accident, best wishes to him. But beyond that, he's a fucking asshole. Because again, both Mike and Trevor can follow up with this. He goes into Dan's live chats and starts making gay and derogatory terms to Dan just because he's having fun talking about Hasbro. I'm sorry, no, people like that, I will fucking come back at, and because unless you call them out on it, they will keep doing it over and over again. He kept talking shit about Dan Yoon and Ryan Ting, and guess what? Dan Yoon finally called him out to it in his face on his own video. I come from a large family. I have an older brother that just rants and talks so much bullshit until, hey, guess what? He's called out on it. These people, unless you call them out on their bullshit, will think that they can keep getting away with spewing bullshit over and over again. And I'm sorry, again, calling anyone a shill, that's talking about the greater community, because, again, we collect things that we enjoy. So anything that we enjoy collecting, we're a shill. Anything that we're wanting to spend money on, we're a shill. I've brought this analogy before. It's like, hey, if you love football or any type of sports, you can go to a sports shop and buy a jersey for like $100 to $200, or you can go get a knockoff at Walmart. Are the people that buy the
authentic or two starting lineup figures for $50, but sorry.
Yeah, anyone that buys the authentic jerseys from like the NFL shop, are they a shill because they're paying the higher price when there's something cheaper that's similar to it? No, it's like we buy things that we collect. That's all that matters. Are we a shill? Yes, all of us are shill. You're making a fucking YouTube about collecting toys. We're all shills for one thing or another. Mike takes that from, or Trevor takes that from being a shill to enabler, but we accept him for that. Teach their own. So it's like it's all good fun until you start
enjoy the headless horseman. Rush.
Yes,
hey,
I will
look,
greatly enjoy
it. Legions into what you want it to be. You can make your own character. You can do it. Join us.
And it's like I'm the one that I won't sit idly by and let my friends, the community that I care about, be talked down on because people think that, oh, they're going to get popular with it. Let any of these hater channels come at me. I don't care. Bring it. It's like, oh God, you're going to hurt me, or oh hey, I'm just going to have common sense and not talk to you, and you're going to say, oh, he's just crying or he can't. I don't care. If you didn't want to go off in that intelligence, I don't care. But it's like when you talk shit about my friends and this community, that's when I will care, and I will come at you every time. I will defend the people.
I agree. Calling somebody a shill, and I know that Trevor has something to add. I'm sorry, Trevor, but I agree. Like, we're throwing the word shill around kiddingly. There's people that actually use that as a derogatory comment. That's name calling to me. There's no need for name calling other than if you steal my Amazon figures because you're a scumbag. Or again, like you brought up the issue earlier regarding racism. Racism is awful, period. End of story. You should not treat people like that. I will not watch certain channels because they took it to a point that I felt was inappropriate. Grossly inappropriate. Not cool. But yeah, name calling, whether it's shill, F an idiot, when it's well deserved, I agree. But I think trying not making things personal is key. Trevor, I know you had a lot to say, man.
Yeah, I don't really care about the word shill. I don't think it's that much of an insult at this point. I mean, people talk about what they like. So are you a shill for talking about what you like? I don't know. Whatever. There are certain people that I won't watch. Unfortunately, like I watched Retro Blasting when they were talking about the what the hell was he on about? Was it the Razor Crest or was I don't know, the Sentinel? I think it was the Sentinel. How it should be in stores. Anyway, listen. Here's my rebuttal to what you're saying, Rush, and I get it because I will spout off, and I thought I had a reasoned debate with somebody recently on a channel, and it's somebody I know, and I had a discussion with them afterwards, and it's all cool. Only because I thought it was just like, it was hypocritical. I don't know if calling out or calling attention to some of these channels, like some of the ones you've mentioned, helps because the whole point is attention. You know what I mean? The whole point is to have beef. Beef will actually boost your subscribers. You know what I mean? Like the people who are behind them, like everything else, will stay behind them until they do something to piss those people off or they get bored of it. And I mean, unfortunately, that's where we are. It sells. There are channels that I'm watching that, for better or worse, they're not always this way, but we'll kind of cash in on the vitriol of the time, whether it's a HasLab or whether it's Hasbro or whether it's Mezco or whatever. And I have beef with some of that stuff too, but they're trading on it. You know what I mean? And that's where I don't. What's what I don't like. It's like I know you're better than that, and I've seen some. Not everybody is. I mean, there are some things. I'm not going to mention people by name, but there are some things that are consistently just there to provoke and to get people to say, yeah, man, you're right, and click like and leave a comment and boost their subscriber. That I don't know if there's any stopping that, because it works for every industry, for every hobby. It works on YouTube. It sucks. I don't really follow those things. Like Tim said, like you just don't have to follow them, But there are some things that I'll watch just to hear somebody's opinion. I just think, I don't know, you're not stopping it. I would just encourage those people to maybe think about what they're doing. And I think it's hurting the whole hobby. You know what I mean? And I think it gets a little tired after a while. And I think people will get tired of it after a while. I don't think you need to call everybody out and start beef with them. And again, reasoned debate is probably better. But, I mean, some people just aren't worth the time either. You know what I mean? There are some people that you mentioned, I won't re-mention them, but some of those people aren't worth my time. I'm just not going to respond. I'm not going to get upset with them because they're going to do what they're going to do, and they're going to take my comment, and they're going to throw me out to the wolves that are their subscribers, and they're going to rip me up too. So it's pointless. There's no point to it. It's not going to change.
We already know they're going to do this with this tonight. All this information tonight. They're going to rip it like, well,
sorry, Dante.
No, you're fine. Look,
no, I'm not talking about anybody specifically. Like,
no, I'm saying I'm not saying you.
There's a lot of stuff that I've never said anything to any of those people, and they've done some great content. And there's some people there's people with real talent that I just think. You didn't need to go there, like on the HasLab for the, you just didn't need to go there. Like you put your reasoning out, and listen, the first thing I said when I saw the price was like, that's too high for what this is, man. You know what I mean? But I ended up backing it because I wanted it, but I thought it was too high. But it is what it is. How many videos can you do on, Hasbro's ripping you off? Hasbro's a bunch of scumbags. Look, there's this other car that they can make for $50, and like. It is what it is. It is what it is. Don't back it. Don't back it.
I'll throw this out there. Again, the word negative can be subjective sometimes. How much do I talk about the long game? Whether it's my channel or here. There might be people in the community who will watch my videos and say, he's a scumbag. He should be buying these figures at full price if he wants them. How dare he wait until they go on clearance and then say he likes the product? They're entitled to that opinion. They are, but there are people who might say I'm a negative person. So I agree with you. I think eventually you could beat the horse to death in a lot of ways as well. You can keep recycling things. But I also agree with what you said as well. At a certain point, if you don't want to watch it, you don't watch it.
Yeah. And it, again, like I don't think the beef, the round and round beef, because you're creating beef on top of beef. You know what I mean? And it just feeds it flames. You're adding fuel to the fire, literally, like is for a metaphor. It's fuel to the fire, and like it's not going to change.
Yeah, the only thing that I hate with all this is since all these people making all these hate videos, it's like the HasLab, the Engine of Vengeance failed, and they're like, "Oh, we won." It's like, what'd you win? You weren't going to buy this anyway, so you're not losing money. It's like the only thing that you won is everyone that actually wanted this, we're not getting it. We lost. It's like you're taking this as a win. It's like, is Hasbro lowering prices? No. What did you win?
The people who made the videos won by getting attention and getting followers and getting subscribers and getting super chats and stuff like that. That's what they won. And again, like people can make up their own mind. You can make up your own mind to follow that kind of stuff. I thought that there were people who are pillars in the community who were making things, again, not mentioning any names, that was like, man, I don't think you needed to do that because you influence a lot of people. And listen, it was probably too much for that, what they were giving you. But it's Hasbro. It's they're gonna do what they're gonna do. You know what I mean? It is what it is. But to say that, hey, so and so said he's not buying it, so I'm not gonna buy it. You know what I mean? Like, to actively go out and know that you have a following of whatever, 5,000 people, 10,000 people, 100,000 people, and just constant negativity towards it is like, what is the point of that? State your. I'm not getting it. Exactly. I think it's too much. Good. Okay. Great. You know what I mean? Like, 5 or 6 of these things constantly, ad infinitum. Every day my feed was filled with these things, and it was like, I don't get it, man. What is your goal to, like, 'cause they're not going to change. It's not going to, like, the next time they come out, they're not going to, like, oh, you know what? We're going to give you twice as much for half the price. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And your shelves are filled with their product. It's like, you don't hate this company. You know what I mean? Like, you buy everything that they put out. You know what I mean? Like, stop. Like, what are you doing?
Can I make a quick humble request? Humble request. Mm-hmm. Mike, can you please just spin that thing behind you a couple times for me? Just give it a spin. And whoever wants to talk, go ahead. Here we go.
Well, no, I was going to say real quick, like, the same. So, and I guarantee, like, the same people who are making these videos, if Hasbro was to send them a package, or any company, not even Hasbro, Mezco, would send them something, and they really did not like that product, would they be sending it back? I doubt it. They wouldn't say Hasbro, you know, or Mezco, keep that. Super 7, keep that. I don't want that. Now, that to me, hey, that's you standing on your ground. You're standing your ground. Okay, cool. That's no problem. I have no problem with that. But if some toy company sent you a product, I guarantee within that day or the next day, hey, so and so sent me this product here, and look what I got here. And then now you got to ask yourself, well, weren't you just making videos about this, saying how bad this company was?
Yeah.
But they sent you.
And I don't know that everybody does that. There are people who will say, you know, listen, I respect the people who will get something for free from whoever,
right? And I'm not saying
say what they feel about it, whether it's good or bad. You know, when Parallel Wade does that, you know, like, it's just like, hey, they sent me this, but it kind of sucks. You know what I mean? I like that.
But the thing is, but when he says it, it's in a respectful manner. It's not disrespecting the people who put in the hard work.
Wade has his moments of disrespect, but he does
it's the beard. That's what it is. You got to shave the beard off.
No, it's an honest way. He'll have Dan.
When he shaved that beard, that was weird, by the way. When he shaved that beard off, and I saw that first video, I knew we were in an Elseworld story. Sorry, Trevor. Go ahead.
But Wade also knows that, like, when he has Dan on there or something, like, Dan, it's not Dan's business. It's not Dan's job. Right. It's not Dan. Like, he can throw out, it's like, Dan, how come we haven't gotten, you know, he doesn't ask for, I ask for Classic Angel all the time. How come we haven't gotten Classic Angel? Well, you know, we might, if there's just manufacturing. You know, he's got to go out there and toe a company line, man. That's his job. He could have been one of those people that lost it. He was the kind of person that went out and said, yeah, I know, I don't know. You know, these higher ups won't let me do it, and blah, blah, blah. He's going to be out of a job the next day. Like, this, it's cool of him to even come on a show and talk about it like that. And like, to give the vitriol towards those people, and then towards a company that's out to make a profit, man. If they can sell that many Engines of Vengeance for $500 or whatever the hell it was, winner. You know what I mean? You win. Yeah. You win. But I like trying to fight against that and say, like, no, you know, you shouldn't charge us this much. They're just not going to give you anything, man. They're out to make money. That's the bottom line.
To add on to what Trevor says, okay, go ahead.
Sorry, just real quick. And the people who do it respectfully and who I love, D Amazing does that. D Amazing will make you awesome. him and Jay Hernandez will make you, like, once you watch their videos, you're like, you know what? I may need that figure. Because it's because of the photography. It's the way that they do it respectfully, review the figure, and just talk about like a genuine collector would. That's how you want it. Like, if I was to have this figure, what are the things that I'm looking for that give me the fun factor and why I will enjoy this figure? And they do
but
it. But
he's not always positive. But he's
right. But you know, I'm not saying they're always positive,
call
but
things out that don't work all the time. Yeah,
right.
I mean, that's a good. You know, Jay Hernandez, same thing. He's great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, any of these reviewers, man, I can't fault people. I used to get stuff for free. You know what I mean? Like, and I'd have to. Sometimes they want me to put a picture up, And like, what am I going to say about it? You know what I mean? It looks great. And after a while, I kind of just refused stuff. Like if it wasn't a good looking figure and they wanted me to take a picture of it and to help them sell it, basically, like this doesn't look good, man. I don't want it. Don't send it to me. I just don't want a free figure.
And Trevor,
if it's not something that I want to deal with. You know what I mean?
Because you're somebody who, out of the five of us, hasn't been in that situation before. Where somebody has said here, and I think that the integrity with that, and that what you just said, is there shouldn't be caveats. I know there are people in the community who were offered, for instance, the G.I. Joe Classified box with Crocmaster, right? And some people said, okay, what are the caveats? And if the caveats were you can only say nice things, they said no thank you. If it's a situation where you can truthfully give your honest opinion unfiltered on that product, then good for you. Take it, review it, and give your best opinion. There are people who will say, well, you're giving a good opinion because you just want to be nice. We have to hope that person is being objective, right? But if you're going to take something for free, we would hope that you're being honest in regard to what you're going to say. And I have a lot of respect for somebody who says, don't send it to me because I know that you only want to hear good things, and I'm not going to do that.
Or a company like Asmus Toys, and I know this is 1/6, and it's not a lot of people here do that, but they did the Lord of the Rings figures, and when I was doing Exclu Collective, I would review a lot of those things because they would send them to me for free, which was nice. But I did an honest review, and it wasn't always glowing. And they would ask to see them, and I got to say to their credit, they never really said, change this, don't say that. If they had a rebuttal to it, like, oh, you missed this, or that part was over, you should have had that, or whatever the hell it was. They would do that, but that happened very rarely. You know what I mean? So some of those things got like, a B, sometimes a B-, and they were okay with that. I took some good pictures of them. They look good. But it's not always the case. It comes with caveats sometimes, yada, yada, yada. But I mean, I don't know if this is getting off topic, but I don't want to take it too far off topic.
No, you're fine.
It's a little more positive anyway.
The thing is, you want somebody who's going to be objective, who sees both sides, the negative and the positive, but addresses it where you're not going to be ticking off the company like, well, they just bombed our figure, and it's not like an overglowing review of the figure, which could be crappy. And you got people buying this crappy figure. You want somebody who's going to be right there in the middle, who's going to call it down line, almost like, I hate to say the users, but like a ref, but we know how bad refs are half the time. Yeah, but somebody who's going to call
Super Bowl this year. Not this year. They were perfect.
Yeah. But you want somebody who's going to call it right down the line.
But I mean, that's, I think, for like the Engine of Vengeance, it would have been good. And some people did start out with that. I'm not saying like the big accounts didn't do that and weigh the pros and cons of it and say, listen, I've looked at it. I think this is really cool. I'd love to have Mephisto. That'd be great. It's a big stretch goal, though, and I don't think they're going to make it. So I'm going to back it. But if they don't, I don't think we're going to make it to that, which kind of sucks. Blah blah blah. All that is reasonable stuff to say. Yeah. But to just make video after video after video of like, how this is such a ripoff and how they could make it cheaper, and talk to people and just bring people on to say, listen, I could go to China and make this for half the price. Well, yeah, I know, man. But that's not what they're in it for. Hasbro is in it to make as much money as they can, and they have a cash cow in Marvel, and they're going to make as much money as they can. Again, we've heard this over and over from insiders. No, they don't care about you. Dan Yoon and Ryan and Dwight, care about what you say anyway. They care about their jobs more than you, honestly. But they try to take feedback back. But Hasbro's a huge behemoth. They're going to make what they want to make, and they don't care if you don't have your Engine of Vengeance. They don't care. They don't care. They want you to, but only for enough money. You know what I mean? Like, that's it. So it's kind of pointless. You're fighting against a behemoth that really, people say they don't care. These same people say Hasbro doesn't care about you. Yes, exactly. That's exactly it. So
Amazon don't care about you either. So I mean,
Amazon doesn't care about you. They got you. They have you. You know what I mean? So like, the way you speak is with your wallet. You know what I mean? And maybe nobody backed that, so maybe things will change next time. I highly doubt it. But the vitriol isn't going to do it. They're not going to listen to you bitching about it. You know what I mean? They're going to respond when you don't buy it. Basically, that's it.
Yeah. If anything, they're going to be like the Star Wars team and be like, just not say anything about, in the next project that has nothing to do with, Black Series.
Yeah. And Jordan makes a good point. Book from ACBA, I love his back and forth with the Hasbro reps. That relationship should be an inspiration to many other businesses out there. I caught flack from my interview because they said I was lobbing softball questions for mine.
I was just going to say that. I was just going to say it, Dante.
The thing is, most people don't understand. That's the first time me interviewing them.
Yeah.
I'm just, easing in. It's not like I'm not a sports journalist sitting out here I'm not a toy journalist sitting out here every day interviewing everybody underneath the sun. It is what it is.
That's Boog's. That's Boog's life, though. Like that, he's become a master of weaving in and out of them and trying to get them to say something, pulling any little thing, knowing, and respectfully he does this, knowing that they're not going to tell him if something's coming that they can't say. You know what I mean? He knows the rules. He just tries to skirt around them.
And it's like, and Dante, I'm so happy you brought that up because I was chomping at the bit to do it, and I wasn't sure if I should or not. And that's another controversial topic in the community, which is what we're here to talk about tonight. People who will criticize individuals who have the opportunity, which you could say us included, since Ryan Ting was on our channel. Thank you again, Ryan.
Like that.
Amazing with your time. But here's the thing. It's like any workplace. You have to build credibility. You can't just show up day one at a job and start calling people out on things. It doesn't work that way. Boog's been doing this for a long time. And that's not saying, Dante, you don't have credibility. Obviously you do. But you just mentioned this. It's your first time interviewing those gentlemen. You can't walk in there, your first opportunity, and say, why do your toys suck? What's your response? Good luck. And I'm not saying your toys suck. But good luck getting a second interview. As Trevor just said, when you have worked with these people, you might get some more leeway. And Trevor also just noted, Boog will ask questions, and I don't watch much of Boog's stuff just because I just don't get around to it. But he asks questions he knows he's not going to get answers to.
Mm-hmm.
They can only say so much because they don't want to lose their job either. So
I want to say one thing about Boog. I just watched the video. I watch all Boog's videos, and sometimes it's just little news blips. This came out. This was announced. That blah blah blah. But today, he talked about the SpiderMan, Craven,
Spider-Man,
the Hunter, right?
Okay.
And he's talking about the in the video. He says this came out. It's not much different. Doesn't come with anything, and this price is bullshit. Like he said, the price is bullshit. But Boog is not somebody who's just constantly shitting on Hasbro. He does reviews about the products, and he says, this is great. I love this. Not quite as good as the old one, whatever. He knows about that product line, like Dan Who. You know what I mean? But he didn't lead the video. I didn't even know he was going to talk about that in the video. He had a picture of it up there, but the title of the video was not Hasbro fucks us again with Craven the Hunter. You know what I mean? It's not there to score points on hate. That's the point. You can say what you feel. I'm not saying you can't. You have to be a shill. You have to, softball it, and you have to say something good about it if you're going to say something bad. If it's all bad, it's all bad. That's fine. But do your video. If you have to lead with it, because I know it gets viewers when you say Hasbro sucks or whatever, or Mezco sucks or whatever. Not to pick on Hasbro all the time, but every video doesn't have to be that, though. You know what I mean? You've said your piece. Gotta let it go. You know what I mean? It's enough. It's enough. Everybody else is doing it. There's enough. It's enough.
Couple things real quick with Boog. The only thing that I get on with his videos is when they announced the Yondu and stuff like that. He's like, oh yeah, a couple of my sources gave me the heads up this morning that these would be dropping. I'm like, Dan Yoon posted on Twitter yesterday that these were going to be dropping. So yeah, your sources don't really have sources if the main guy is actually telling you. So that's what I find funny. It's he always has sources, but it's yeah, but these were announced by Hasbro.
I don't really hear him saying that. Honestly, I don't know. I don't know what I don't know. I've never heard him really say it.
But everyone talks about cost and everything, and coming from someone I've worked at Universal Studios as Halloween Horror Nights and Harry Potter. It's the revenue that they make from those things helps pay for other projects down the line. It's everyone says about, the HasLab is costing so much and Hasbro's just pocketing that. It's no, I can't confirm this, but it's they could also be using the money that they make off the HasLab to pay for other projects down the line. It's like everyone's talking about the rising cost of, the figures this year. It's like, hey, guess what? We also don't have a HasLab that they made money off of to help offset these costs that they're doing all these toolings for. So it all adds up together. It's like everyone's like, oh, if we stop buying, they're going to lower the price. Like, no, Hasbro had the Overwatch line. That didn't sell. Did they lower the price? No, they just stopped selling it and moved on to something else. That's what companies do. It's like all these people think that, oh, we're going to change the industry. No, you're not. They're just going to move on to, again, what's going to make the money.
Again, they're not small, nimble companies that can respond on a dime to what people are saying. You know what I mean? Even then, some small companies it's out of their hands. Costs have gone up. Shipping has gone up. Price of petroleum has gone up. Whatever it is. But they're a huge behemoth, and it's a small part of their business. There's really your hands are tied. There's really not anything you can do. You can complain a little bit to Dan and Ryan. Maybe they can move up some thoughts about that in order to maybe correct a few things down the line, extra hands or something. But ultimately, they don't have much control over what the price is going to be or what you're going to get for the price. You know what I mean? They're just there to sell the figures that they've come out with, basically.
Exactly.
And they're fans, which is cool, but it's
Yeah.
Mike, yes.
I was gonna say, for all we know, all this complaint about Hasbro, suddenly the licenses get moved to like McFarlane, and you get like a SpiderMan like times 3 in every wave in like a giant scale that breaks instantly, and
Yeah, poor DC fans.
But see, that's sorry, go ahead, Mike.
I was gonna say, and then if everybody, I mean, we all like toys, so we're all kids in that sandbox. And we all should be, my grandmother used to say, all you kids fight nice, and
yeah,
and I mean, at one point I started a beef with a major YouTuber and didn't even realize it, and it just, you got, you can continue it or you can let it go.
Yeah,
Yeah, and as I said, my DMs are always open. If you want to talk to me, I don't mind having this conversation. I don't care. Like, it doesn't bother me. I'll talk to you. But when you start if you become belligerent or out of hand, then that's when I'm like, you know what? We're done. And I think we also got to look at, too, the biggest heist of all time was Todd McFarlane. He heisted everybody. He said that Spawn could not sell in the store. And he's like, I have to go to Kickstarter and sell my Spawn, get my Spawn figure. And what did he say? Oh, it's going to be articulated. It's going to have all this and that and that. What happens after the Kickstarter? It hits over $1 million on Kickstarter. And what happens? What do you get? Half of the promises not even met. But there was not an anger or upset at it. They're like, hey, we're getting Spawn. That's all.
I got that thing. I turned around and sold it. I thought I might want it. I opened it up. I'm like, I don't want this. I turned around and sold it for well over the price. It's like people weren't disappointed that much. So
I love McFarlane as an artist. I hate his view of articulation and what he's done with the as a business person. But hey, he's successful, I guess. I mean, we don't know. We don't see his books.
We don't know.
Dante, we just lost a sub. I think it was Todd McFarlane. But I'm okay.
It's fine. And like I said, if we like subs for this channel, slowly grow. We lose more people than we gain. And that's fine. But as long as it's genuine and I'm not sitting here and we're not sitting here spewing hate on everybody around the world and who's out here doing the hardest working job of making toys. I shouldn't say is out here doing the job of dealing with us as toy collectors, I should say. Have a good night, Jordan. Appreciate you hanging out with us. But we're picky, just like every other probably fan base that has something out there. Like every musician who probably has fans, like, hey, I like this song, but I think you could have changed this around with the beat. Or somebody that's in I want to see TV industry. It was like, hey, I like your show, but it would have been better if you did this with this character. and did that and this and this, it would have made the character better. And then you get that, and you're like, well, yeah, it didn't look good. Didn't look good. Like, prime example, Velma. We all grew up with Scooby-Doo. We know Scooby-Doo. Velma was not Scooby-Doo. It was some other iteration that they tried to take with it, and it just didn't pan out. It's like things like that. And it's like, well, if Hasbro lost the Marvel license, now it's going to be like, well, who should the Marvel license go to? Should it be Mattel? Should it be Todd McFarlane?
Please no.
Right. And that's the thing. Like, well, McFarlane can do it. He can do it in the 7-inch scale at $24.99. But again, you're missing out on.
You'll have whole teams in a month with Todd McFarlane.
Exactly. And you'll have how many you thought you had Iron Man now and Captain America? Oh, best believe your shelves will be saturated. You won't have any other character except Captain America, Thor, and Iron Man. And
the Starjammers, they're all coming out next week.
Exactly.
Gold variants.
Yeah. You won't have
gold and white variants and blank variants.
Right. Exactly. Let me make the same figure and like 5 different times in the same wave. Same wave.
Yeah. So,
but as collectors, we get upset when Marvel Legends do it waves out. And I'm like, okay. And as we brought up many times on the show too, pinless or not pinless? Is it a good figure? Does it articulate well? Can you take a picture with it? Yes. Okay. There are some people like, and then we talked to Matthew. He said he edits out the pins. That's fine. Yeah. If you want to do that, that's fine. If you want to keep the pins in, that's fine. But the pins don't make or break the figure. The articulation does. Can you get your multiple man in multiple different poses? Yeah. Can I have fun with them? Yeah. We've seen pins since the 5-inch days, 3 3/4-inch days. Hasn't stopped us from playing with it. Nobody cared about the pins at that point in time. Why even care now about the pins? Is it just because we're getting pickier? Certain people getting pickier.
Because in 2023 they have the technology. They should be doing this.
Yeah, that's what they said about the $6 million man too. But look what happened with him. He got canceled too.
You know what it is?
They had the technology and rebuilt them.
But again, like we're going down that road, and the thing is, like, it could be. I wonder about this. Like, why are they not using the latest? Why are they still putting out things on that Bucky cap buck? But it's a money thing. Like, that's a cheaper thing probably to produce, to put together physically on the line. I don't know, but I mean, there's a reason they're using it. It's a cost efficiency to use that thing for lesser figures that aren't going to sell as much as, you know, something else like an Iron Man or something or SpiderMan that they're going to make pinless. You know what I mean? Because SpiderMan's going to sell no matter what.
One other thing I was gonna,
you know,
a lot of it also is a lot of us are kind of, you know, maybe we're in the end game of collecting Marvel, you know, at this point, because I mean, all of us, I mean, they keep pushing the latest and greatest, you know, newer figures, and they have to be reissuing. But whereas we all want new characters, but you know, we're 20 years deep into this line, and you know, for Marvel Legends at least, you know, so I can see the complaints, but I also could see why, you know. But then again, here I am rebuying, you know, brand new Spider-Mans all over again, even though I have the best that there are. So I get all of the complaints, and I get what they're about, but it could be like Mattel and have nothing.
Dante, permission to be in the middle again? Okay. Devil's advocate. So again, I get both sides here. What Trevor just said regarding price of a figure, okay? The Orb. I loved that freaking storyline with Nick Fury and the Orb. It was freaking amazing, okay? I'm so pumped for getting an Orb, even if you want to say it's more the classic Orb. By the way, Dan Hu did an awesome interview, dear God, it's getting late, did an awesome review of the Orb. I checked that out. He almost went back to his old school, like, who is he sort of thing. Very well done. With that said, we don't need that to be pinless. It's a character that a lot of people don't want. Probably a lot of people never read Original Sin. They may not have read the comic books from Ghost Rider. They might just pass on it. So it's on pins. Who cares? But I do get people's opinion that when you see pinless technology, it's pushing the brand forward. It is showing an evolution in the industry. G.I. Joe Classified, correct me if I'm wrong, is completely pretty much pinless. Okay. It's showing an advancement in the industry. I get Classified's a new line versus Legends is older. Okay. It's not completely pinless. Thank you. But when you go pinless, it shows an evolution in a line. I don't personally really care. Trevor, you're taking more photography than the rest of us are. So I get the fig photographers might care a little bit more sometimes. But
yeah, I don't
care. But
I don't care. But like the other thing is they I mean, I'm not saying that they don't care, but like they're not looking to move the figures forward. They're looking for things to sell the figures. And this is probably done somewhat reluctantly because they've gotten a lot of feedback on bucks that are terrible and people hate and they want this stuff. Yes, they did it. They went ahead and did pinless and it looks great. And it's a response. I'm not saying they're complete overlords sitting back there, shoving, grapes into their mouth on a throne or something like that. But it's like, they're going to do what they can do to keep this cash cow going for sure. But it's really not the same as like, again, I'm just going back to the Four Horsemen or maybe Jada Toys now at this point, or Super 7 to some degree, like that they're not like nimble and saying, people really want this. Let's give them that. Let's push it a little bit. Let's take a little less profit. I know for a fact, I'm not talking about financials of Four Horsemen. I don't know that, but I know that they'll push it, man, with the new dies and new pieces for a wave that I know has to eat into profits. You know what I mean? Like they could continue to reuse parts, but after a while, people are going to be like, screw this. You know what I mean? Like, meanwhile, Hasbro does it all the time, constantly. And people keep buying them. You know what I mean? So they could get away with it, with an IP like that. And they do. They just do. They can. Yeah, like you just said, the orb. Like, why spend more money on creating a pinless, if that costs more money to make, which I'm assuming it does, for the orb? Who's buying the orb? It's such a deep cut, man.
I mean? I want that orb figure.
Well, it's cool, but like figure. It's a deep cut. It's not something that's going to sit on the shelves at Target, man. Nobody's buying that. Especially if they have to charge, more money for it, or the price of the whole wave has to go up because everything's going to be pinless. Then you're going to be spending $30 a figure or $32 a figure. Can't do it. You just got to find ways to save money and then give people what they want in certain areas. That's the name of the game with them, man.
Yeah, and I'll wrap this up after this. And we also got to remember a long time ago how it was with electronics, beta disc, laser disc, and then it was a fight for HD or Blu-ray disc. Like it's always going to be slowly moving up. We had the beta disc players, the laser disc players, then it went to VCRs, then it went to DVD players, then it went to Blu-ray players. It's
I found my first MP3 player the other day, randomly in a drawer, just throwing it out there for fun. I was like, "What is this?" Oh, that existed. Yeah.
But it's a slow build to it. Just like the Bucky Cat mode will still be there. It's going to be a slow build to the new Buck with pinless joints. You just have to be patient. It will go through. So, All right, folks. Man, we went a good almost 3 hours with this, but it was fun. It was fun. It was fun. It was a good time. But we had a discussion, and I do apologize. I didn't get to everybody's comments. I'm sorry. It was a deep discussion. But as we had a discussion,
but we have been reading them.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I've been reading them because y'all been making me laugh in the comments. Y'all are hilarious. But it was a good time. Everybody's still friends. We had a good discussion. We didn't agree on some of the same points, but we discussed it out in a way that was being an adult, and we still respect each other's opinions, and and look at it from different avenues. Like, oh, you know what? I didn't look at it from that way. So it was great. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Trevor, for hanging with us. I appreciate you. Thank you for coming on and hanging with us. And then
I have to count up the people I have beef with now.
Oh, I can't wait till like the snippets come out. Like, hey, you see what they were saying? Oh man, look at that! And it gets taken all out of proportionate context.
They'll make you say, they'll deep fake me saying things that I never said. Yeah, it'll be great.
Exactly.
Dude, that stuff is scary. That deep fake stuff, man. AI is getting, well, it's not AI, but that stuff's just getting creepy. Yeah, man, it's weird. We live in a weird world. That's all I can say.
Yes. Greg, send me that question in a messenger so I can have it for the next show, because we probably won't get to that one. He asks like, question: do you have a property you would love a modern line of? So I'll be for the next show. But this show will be
Chrono Trigger.
Still
Micronauts.
Hanna-Barbera always. You say Micronauts?
Yeah.
Sure. Well,
love Micronauts.
Yeah, that's different. But this show will always be the last Sunday of every month. As part of the new going forward. So we'll always have new guests on here, different perspectives. Yo, Cloud, I'm with you on that. Legend of Dragoon figures, I will love that. I want the remake of that game. Cloud. Just like, yeah, Cloud. Let's go. But yeah, so in March, we'll have IE Creators coming back for the second, starting back again. With me, Damien from D Blake's Makes, and Steph from Detour Customs. And then on the first Monday of the month, it will be me and Jay doing Let's Build Gundams, talking anime and building Gundams. So I appreciate everybody who came out for the new shows. And then, as always, it'll be Friday night with me, Rush, and Tim, and Action Figure Skinny.
Shout out to Action Figure Skinny. He's got a lot going on. He's busy behind the scenes, guys, but he always sends his sentiments and says hello. Great dude, and love hearing what's going on in Canada. It's always fun to hear what's going on up there. So,
Apparently, Jordan says that there's an awesome chocolate coffee crisp in Canada. We're gonna have to bring that up to Action Figure Skinny next time.
Yes, I did see that in the conversation. I was like, coffee crisp. I need that for my coffee right now.
Chat, we are paying attention. We are reading everything. So yes, we are fully aware of everything said.
Look, if nobody tells you, I love y'all in the chat. I love the guys here who are on the show with me. I love you all in the chat. You all are awesome. Stay awesome. And always, if you feel disrespected by somebody, you can come talk to me, and I'll stand up for you anytime and any day. As long as it's something I can stand up for you. Like you didn't go off on somebody and say, "Hey, you know what? You stink." But I will always stand up for you guys. No matter what. If somebody's giving you a problem about your gender, come talk to me. They got a problem with you. They got a problem with me. Matter of fact, they got a problem with the whole crew. Because we IE Goon Squads. IE Goon Squad for life.
Trevor showing something.
Focus, man. Focus.
And Trevor and Mike, thanks again, guys.
If that's not the glowing dark horseman, I don't want to see it, Trevor.
It's a test shot of the Cosmic Legion, man. Cosmic Legion.
Oh, wait a minute. Hold up. Wait. Put that up, please. I need my Cosmic Legions. Ooh, wee. Look at that. Look at that bad boy. He got a nice little cloak on.
Bad girl.
You know what? It almost reminds me of like a little bit of the Krieg. They kind of looks.
And this is one that we can all get in at the same time, and nobody can say they missed it, right?
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
Exactly.
Still get in on it.
Hey, right, Trevor, since you're in the know, is Figure Obscura considered Mythic Legions, or is that like a different line?
Nope, it's outside of Mythic Legions. So technically, you're off the hook, Rush. You're technically.
So that for me, buying the Horseman is not buying Mythic Legions.
It's a gateway drug, Rush. It's a gateway drug.
But at least just cookies.
Baby. Open it up.
Look, they got me with a spider moose, so hey. Folks, have a great week. If you have off Monday, hope you have a great day off tomorrow. Have a great week, and we'll see you on Friday. Enjoy your time, the rest of your night off, and enjoy some the rest of us when that comes on. Hope you're watching that because it's such a great show. And the video game's great. It's like basically it's like playing a video game that you're watching. So it's great. It's an awesome show.
you don't even have to play the video game to follow along with it. It's awesome.
Exactly.
I've never played the game and I love it.
Oh,
Same.
wait, if you played the game,
Zolocon. See everybody at Zolocon.
Yes, we'll see, and I'll be at Zolocon on Saturday with
Sweet.
Trevor,
with
you
the-
going?
Coffee.
Trevor,
Yes,
you're
coffee.
Yeah, I'm going. Yep.
That's awesome. I didn't know that. Very cool.
Yeah. Steph and I
that's
are driving. I think Steph's still going.
Oh,
He is.
okay.
He's my
I look
ride.
forward to seeing you, man.
Yeah,
D.
for
Blake
sure, man.
Damien might be there too. I think he's trying to get a ride with NJ Tree.
I told him he should be at the show, like in the show. I don't know if he's going to do that or not. I'm not sure.
I don't think he is. I don't think he was going to.
He decided not to. Damn it.
Yeah.
I'll have to have him bring my Pulp Fiction sign anyway.
All right, folks. Have a great evening. We'll wrap it up. Once again, thank you, Mike. Thank you, Trevor, for hanging out with
Thanks, man.
us.
Thanks for having
Great
us on.
talk. Oh, you're welcome. Anytime, guys.
Yeah,
You're always welcome.
To add on, remember Dante's what he says. We're trying to grow this channel. So if you liked what you see, invite others. Tell them about us. Bring them along. We want to grow it. We're about, as you saw, we're about positivity. Yes, we have rants. Sorry, but we're about positivity. Bring people over. So we're trying to make this grow. It's like if you want positivity in this community, bring them our way.
We have toys.
Yes, like Mike said, we got toys. And if you haven't checked out Mike's dial of the Mario Brothers, go check it out. It's awesome.
It's almost done. Almost.
Definitely.
It's a little bit more to do.
There you go.
Then again, that goes how with making. You're never really done because there's always something you can add to it.
That is very true. All right, folks. Have a good evening.